Nope, that didn't work. So.
What didn't work?
It just now popped up for me to share it. So.
Oh, all right.
So.
Well, it's not going to go smoothly 100% of the time. If we've learned anything,
well, yeah,
in the last 3+ years, it's that.
For sure. I think if it did, we would probably have a heart attack. So
yeah, we wouldn't know. We wouldn't know what's going on.
All right. So welcome to Metalheads Unite. As you can see, this is a special Saturday morning edition. Well, for us, it's Saturday morning. For our guests,
right.
It's Saturday evening. So are going into it rather.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Late Saturday afternoon. Yeah.
Yeah. So we do have another Finnish band on the show today. So we'll bring in Ari from the Reality Machine. Hey Ari, how you doing?
Hello. I'm doing fine. It's actually pretty early in the evening, but it's going great. In Finland, we are celebrating Midsummer's Day, so it's national holiday right now.
Oh, nice. All right. What does that holiday symbolize? Is it literally just the middle of summer, or what's the history behind it?
Basically, that I think it's from Sweden. I think.
Okay.
Originally, but yeah, basically we're celebrating the middle of the summer. Basically, it's just that people are going out from the cities into the countryside to their summer cottages and going to drink and celebrate.
Going to drink, yep.
Yeah.
So is that so I guess I'll ask you this. I'm not sure if it's similar, but we have we don't really call it a holiday, but we just passed the longest day of our year, which stays daylight here.
Yeah.
Pretty much till like 9 at night. So
yeah.
So I don't know if you guys have a situation like that too, or
basically that I don't think it's the Midsummer's Days. Probably not the longest day, but
okay.
Almost the same.
Yeah. Okay.
Basically, our summers is like you can see daylight all day, all night.
Yeah.
That's our summer.
Oh, nice. Okay.
And for the listeners, yes, we were talking about the weather. So
yeah, that's how the show's starting. We're talking about the weather.
Yeah, first.
Yeah. Of course, the funny thing is it's kind of ironic because we have a pretty big holiday coming up here in the United States where people, they go out and they drink. Of course, we have multiple here in the United States. Of course, we do, but we have our Independence Day coming up on the 4th, and people like to get pretty blitzed then too. So
and blow their fingers off.
Blow their fingers off. Yeah, just ask Jason Pierre-Paul; he'll tell you. So
yeah.
He's an American football player over here, and he literally blew, I think, at least 2 of his fingers off.
I think it was 2 of them. Yeah,
if not 3. But a couple of years ago. So now he plays with like this weird kind of thing on his hand when he plays. But yeah, he learned the hard way. So
I think he runs around like this all the time. Yeah.
He kind of does. That's kind of by default now.
Yeah. So you're a default metalhead almost.
Yeah.
Well, Ari, I'm glad that you decided to do this because I've actually been reaching out to a few musicians that are kind of similar to what you do, and if you don't get it from the way he's got his screen name there, Ari is the Reality Machine. He does all of it himself, which is why I was trying to get someone on here to kind of explain that, because I think it's pretty amazing some of the music that comes out with one person behind it. Of course, we kind of grew up in the 9 Inch Nails era where we, Trent Reznor kind of the first person that we remember. Of course, we had guy from Behemoth, right?
Nergal.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. It was on the tip of my tongue. I just couldn't get it out. but yeah, there's some pretty amazing musicians out there that do what you do. So it's pretty wild to hear some music, and you realize, oh, that's just one person.
One person, yeah.
Crazy. So is that is how difficult is that for you to try to put all that together?
Actually, for me, it's not that hard. I tend to write very much. Basically, this is like one project. I have my original metal project, which is in Finnish, called Magneta Plaza, where there's basically a vocalist and myself doing all the music and mixing and mastering and all the other stuff. I also have a Siren of Charms named project, which is basically Britpop type easier stuff. And I have I guess you call it a wedding band out there, but basically in Finland it's called bilebändi, which is like a party band. So it's like a bilebändi wow, where the money from music comes from the wedding gigs basically. But the passion is this songwriting, and the Reality Machine is pretty much a new project for me, going back to my roots. Like you see Iron Maiden poster up there.
Oh yeah.
That is my roots, and it's pretty easy for me. I get the song idea, I go to the computer, start to write it, record it a bit by bit, and basically I have an EP. So I wrote the first EP, like I started from January, and from March it was all written and done. And basically I have written the second EP already, and the third is under the way. So for me, it's that long answer. That is easy for me, basically.
Well, you definitely don't waste any time, and you definitely keep busy. I mean, having 3 other projects besides the Reality Machine. Of course, I've read somewhere that Magneta Plaza is kind of like on hiatus right now.
Yeah, basically, yes. Our singer Willy, he's writing the lyrics for the second album. The music has been written like 2 years already, so it has been waiting and waiting and waiting. So meanwhile there's been that waiting, I started to write this Reality Machine type stuff. That was like I wanted to go back to my roots, so it became really natural for me to go put Magneta a bit of in the hiatus and started to write this Reality Machine type stuff.
Well, it's definitely got the traditional heavy metal influence in there for sure.
Absolutely. So. Yeah. I mean, I don't even think you would really have to know that is like the foundation of your musical past, your roots. Like you said, I don't think you'd even have to know that to realize that that's kind of the inspiration you got. I really don't think it's hard to tell from the beginning at all. Now, you're listed as doing everything on this, yet you didn't do the vocals. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. I got a guy called Igor.
Yes.
I wanted basically a 80s heavy metal singer that can scream like Halford or Dickinson, or these songs needed that type of vocalist. I can't do that stuff. I'm not a metal vocalist myself, so I started to search firstly locally from my hometown Pori. No, not a singer came. This is kind of stuff that is not that popular right now. So I started to search online what's coming up. I put ads that I am looking session singer, and Igor replied me and wanted to do the job, and I got Igor to do it. Now, basically, in the beginning of this month, I went to see Judas Priest, and I saw Igor there, and he said that he might not be able to do the second EP, so I'm looking for another singer for the second EP. So vocalist thing is pretty hard thing to do, and also the other players. I want to take this to live gigs, but it's really hard to find the correct right persons for the job, basically.
Now, do you play any instruments at all, or?
Yeah, I play. My main instrument is guitar, but I play bass. I play piano. I play basically everything that I get. I try and I try to learn it. I'm actually from my civil job. I'm a music teacher, so that basically comes from that.
Nice. Okay.
Oh, nice. Okay,
I'm
yeah.
learning pretty much every instrument I get on my hands. So basically everything you hear except the vocals are done by me. Drums, I use a bit of MIDI drums here and there because it's pretty hard stuff. But
Yeah.
basically all the instruments you hear are done by me.
I think most people that are kind of like a one-man band kind of do drum tracks and they kind of build around it. So I think that's pretty standard. I think so.
Yeah, and it's pretty much easier when you try to get the flow going. You're writing a new song. It's pretty much easier to write when you have the drum tracks there that inspire to do riffs and melodies. So it's pretty much easier. That's the great thing about technology nowadays.
Right.
Now, I mean, have you ever done any vocals, or is it just that you felt that you with the style of vocals you wanted, that it was a little out of your range?
Yep. Basically, I sing on the siren of charms and on the party band, the wedding band.
Okay, all right.
I'm a second singer there, but basically my vocals are like a baritone, like
I gotcha.
popish vocals. So
Okay,
and I wanted like the Halford type high
sure.
pitch
Yeah. Okay.
scream and the heavy metal stuff. So I have to admit I can't do that stuff. I get to get the right guy to do
Yeah.
that.
Well, I mean, that's not really anything that you really have to be ashamed of, because I mean, there are not a whole lot of guys, in this world who can do, Halford Dickinson or Tim Owens and stuff like that. So I mean, it's not anything to really be ashamed of. It's like, especially when you play all these instruments already. So I mean, even if you can't hit whatever this high C, whatever the high C or whatever the hell it is, even if you can't hit that, it's like, I can do all this other stuff over here. So you do that, I'll do all this over here, and we'll be fine. Yeah, so it's really nothing to be ashamed of.
I'm a Hawaiian punch guy myself. I don't care much for high C. So
yeah. Basically, the vocal stuff is like for this kind of music, you have to have that type of vocals to really justify the songs, if you know what I mean. Like the songs on this album, like the song "Wrong Messiah," I had in my mind, I had the Rob Halford's voice screaming through it. So if I'm singing it, it would sound like shit. So no, thank you. I needed someone to get that real voice.
It's funny you brought that one up. I think that's probably my favorite song on the album, actually. So
great to hear. Great. That was that's basically one of my favorite. My favorite song, basically, on the EP.
Yeah, it had. I would say that one probably had a little bit of a painkiller, vibe to it. Of course, Rob is like super duper high, like all the way through that song. But still, I still got the overall vibe from it, and with the vocals and the musical composition together, I got a painkiller vibe from that one too. So yeah.
That's great to hear. Like Painkiller was like that to me is like the perfect metal song through and through. And basically when I was searching for the singer, and there was like some Finnish guys like, hey, I could do the vocals. I always asked, can you sing the Painkiller? And they sent, and I said, that's not cutting it. So it's like it's the most difficult song. So I try to get the vocalist who can do the Painkiller, so I know that he could do or she could do any other song that I have.
Right. Yeah. See, that makes a lot of sense. If you set the bar super duper high and someone can hit that, you pretty much got all the bases covered.
Right.
So it's kind of a smart way to do it. Yeah.
It was easier to get like Igor. I liked his voice. He has like a similar to Halford, but more like also Ronnie James Dio type of vocals. So first I heard his vocals on the track Rainmaker. I like, this is the guy for this stuff. okay, he can't do really high vocals, but he can sing all of these. But basically now that I'm looking for a new singer, it's gonna be a painkiller test again for the
Okay,
next
there you go.
singer again.
Well, now, I mean, like I said, if you want to take this live, now you got to find somebody that's able to sing this EP plus the new one. So,
Right, it's got to be able to
Yeah.
translate.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So whoever you get with that's definitely going to be a talented person. I'm just going to
Mhm.
say that right now. So,
Yeah.
uh,
We hope I find the right guy for that job.
oh yeah, I'm sure you won't have any issues with that over there. So it seems like that's like, I don't. We talk about this a lot, but it's like, Finland being a lot smaller than the United States, of course, but it's just wild to see so much, quality content of music coming out from over there. It's
Yep.
just it's unreal. Just like,
Yeah.
I'm like, do you guys do anything else but play music over there? Like, what? It's like,
Also play ice hockey, like.
Oh,
well, yeah, there you go. Yeah,
I was about to say I wasn't gonna say it because I knew.
Yeah.
I knew.
Yeah.
I wasn't gonna say hockey because
It is ice hockey is like it's crazy.
That's religion over there.
Yeah, and kids like start at the age of 4 earliest.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Ice ski.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's crazy. It's crazy. But basically, heavy metal. When I grew up, it was like it's like a biggest music genre, or one of the biggest music genre here in Finland. Nowadays, it's not that big anymore, but they are selling stadiums. Like Metallica just sold 2 stadiums. Iron Maiden sold all the gigs they play. Like last time they were here, it was 2023, and they sold both big arena gigs. It was sold out. So it's still really big here in Finland, but not as big like it was like 20 years ago when I grew up.
Yeah.
So there's a question. Well, since we brought that up, I kind of wanted to. We kind of talk about this a lot, and I was kind of interested since you brought it up. Is there any other like genres that are big over there? Or?
We have like nowadays rap music. It's become like it have gone like really big. They are sold out stadium gigs for Finnish rappers. But like our national music is like iskelmä music, which is like sloggers. I don't know. Do you have any kind of that kind of stuff? Like basically like country music, but sad music. I don't know how to describe it, but
no, that's pretty. That's pretty.
So like our old school country.
Yeah. Or as some people would call it around here, real country. Because
right. Yeah.
Yes, I mean, even my wife would probably be like, oh, I mean, back when country music was really country music, so probably Merle Haggard and stuff like that back in the 80s, all that good stuff.
Yeah,
I think you brought that up. Actually, I was just thinking about her the other day when I saw a picture where Clint Black sold out one of the big stadiums or something. I was like, wow.
Actually, it was George Strait is who it was.
Oh, was it?
And and it was 100 and
I don't know him.
Well, I mean, all of the country music knowledge I have is because of Angela,
right?
And George Strait's actually her favorite, and I saw that it was like 115 or 117,000, something like that, and
that's actually what I meant. That ain't what I said, but that's kind of what I meant.
So. Yeah, 115 or 117 or something like that. It was a lot of people. It's basically George Strait playing at a Michigan football game, more or less.
Right.
So. It was he broke the attendance record that the Grateful Dead had from like 1977, I think.
That's crazy.
That's a long time. Yeah, but that's.
I wonder how many people, like even bands wise, have played in that stadium too. So.
Oh, I don't know. I'd have to look. But
so I mean, that's what I'm saying. That's a pretty good feat if you look back and see, just say bands like Metallica played there, and you got a country artist out, that broke the record. That's pretty wild. So
yeah.
And pretty wild is that those bands you mentioned, I have never heard of them. Like country music is, we don't know it here.
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe Johnny Cash and the basic one, Willie Nelson.
Sure. Yeah.
But like what you have there is like unknown persons, unknown bands for us here in
Yeah.
Finland.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
crazy.
it's all like pop here now. So I mean, it's not,
Yeah. That's
it's not really country anymore. I think that's what a lot of people are, don't follow along with it as much because of that. So
right. That's true. That's 100. That's 100% true.
Yeah.
now you
Actually,
said
for
now you
a
said
lot of it.
now you said you taught music. Is that like you just do that as like a profession, or is that just something you just kind of like fell in love with and do, or is I guess what I'm saying is like, do you teach like at schools, or do you like
Yeah. Yeah.
I guess like
Yeah.
kids at school, or you just do that kind of at a
Yeah.
musical center or something?
I teach kids at school like age 7 to 12 now.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
So I start pretty early with the kids.
Yeah.
Basically, it's like I teach them to sing and learn this basic stuff like our country's main music, classical music and the iskelmät, the slagers and all that stuff, and teach them to basically sing and play ukulele and guitar and piano and everything like that. That's basically my main day job. This is my passion. Music is my passion, so
Yeah.
it's great that I can
Right.
teach and make money from it. But if if I could choose, I would choose this music
Well, I
because
just want
this
to
is passion.
I just want to thank you for doing that, because I think that's
Right.
a lot of thing that's missing. Over here, it's like a lot of band programs in schools and stuff kind of go under because of the funding,
They
and
do.
Yeah.
and it's really sad to see, because I think there's a lot of potential there with carrying on music if you get them into it earlier in their life, instead of waiting until they're a rebellious teenager. Of course, that's a lot of the best shit that we listen to come out from rebellious teenagers.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
it's
Well,
kind
Yeah.
that's true. But I mean, if you're getting them like in that range, like 7 to 12, that I mean, they'll be able to have an outlet for it. Because I
right.
mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
if you're 7 years old and you're learning to play music, I mean, you're still going to get to your teen years, and there's still going to be that angst, and there's still going to be,
Well,
the hormones and the confusion and everything. So I mean,
Yeah.
hell, if you're taught how to play a guitar at 7 years old, I mean, hell, you can,
mhm.
you
Yeah.
get to your teens, and you can join a band, and hell, you never know, you could hit it big, just
Well, I think
because
that's
you had that opportunity when you were 7.
Yeah.
right.
And
And I
basically,
think
the outlet for children,
right.
that is the greatest thing, because I have kids like who comes from poor homes, doesn't have a mom or dad at home. So basically, that's that great that they can let it out on my classes, where I can teach them. Uh, Maybe not always their favorite music, but I try to teach them all kinds of music. Also heavy metal. I teach my I teach my pupils some
Sure.
heavy metal stuff too.
Yeah,
So I think
planting
it's
some
great.
seeds. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think kids now, kids have always been, but kids nowadays are really open-minded about music, different kind of genres. Uh, it's not just basically pop and rap music, but all kinds of stuff. They are loving it. It's just that you need to present it in a way that they are going to be interested in that
Right.
music,
Yeah.
basically. And that's my job as a music teacher,
Yeah.
to inspire them to grab a guitar or piano and just play, or maybe write songs or something, or just for themselves. That's my job, I think.
I think that's an age where kids try to find something extracurricular in their lives to do anyway, like whether it be sports or music or whatever. And I know my son started playing football at 7, so it was kind of it was kind of one of those things where I think that age group is kind of like looking for something to do besides just go to school and go home.
Yeah.
And a lot of of course, video games I think is part of everybody's life at some point, but you got people that are really involved in that too. So
Yeah.
but yeah, like I said, there's a lot of we see it every day over here, where some schools having issues with their bands and stuff. being able to keep up the programs and all that. And then some teacher has to go out and join the UFC. I'm just kidding. That's a movie, but
right, yeah.
but yeah. So it's cool to hear that. That's pretty awesome.
But
it's different here in Finland because we have everybody goes to the same school, so we don't have like the private and public school system.
Right.
Everybody goes to the public school, and I think it's great because it allows us to do many kinds of stuff. It's not about the funding. It's more about do you want to do it, and you get the fund to do that. What you want to do, what you want to teach them. For example, I wanted to teach kids guitar, so I asked our principal, could we have some money to get some newer guitars for children? And he was like, yeah, you have a plan? Yes. So we order it, and now I'm teaching guitars, and it's the greatest feeling on this profession when somebody gets it and falls in love with the music. And I get it because I fell in love with the guitar and with this kind of music. So if somebody gets that, it's pretty damn good feeling.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like that's the way it should be, though. If you go to like the principal of school and say, hey, this is what I have in mind, and this is the plan, and like you got a curriculum set out and all that stuff, there shouldn't be no questions. I don't think.
Yeah.
I mean,
because
it looks like it's like, okay, this guy's put a lot of thought into this. He's got it in his mind. He knows what he's going to do. So let's do it. So
and it also
and also if it doesn't work, then it just doesn't work. But the thing is you come in with a plan and everything and execute that plan, and it usually 9 times out of 10 with you got that much thought into it, it's going to turn out to be a success. So
yeah, and something to do something like that over here, you'd have to jump through so many hoops. It's kind of ridiculous. It's sometimes and I'm glad my kids are all out of school at this point, because I mean, it just doesn't seem to be getting any better. But sometimes it just doesn't seem over here like they have the kids' best interest at heart. And so it's good to hear that. It sounds like your principal really cares, and he was just like, all right, I'm okay with this if you've got like some sort of clear-cut path. And you did. He's like, all right, cool, go do it. So it wouldn't have been that simple over here, I guarantee you. So, and another thing I like, talking what you said about how everyone goes to school together, I think that's another good thing. And what I was going to say a little bit ago about you're teaching the kids and everything, a lot of it, well, let me backtrack just a little bit. I don't think what can be understated is, especially nowadays, is if you're getting kids together and they're not in their phones nonstop, and they're actually, because I mean, you're also building a camaraderie too. Because I think what kind of gets like lost a lot, and my aunt, who's actually in the chat, she could probably back me up on this because she's a teacher too, is people don't, and of course this goes for all people, but I mean, if you're getting 7 to 12-year-olds, I mean, you're also letting kids interact with each other in a live setting, face to face. And I think a lot of that is actually getting lost. People aren't talking to each other anymore, other than, in a live, playing video games. I have no problem with video games, but I mean, if you're just communicating over, it's ironic because we're doing it right now. If you're communicating over headset with some dude, just playing video games, I mean, it gets lost, and people are constantly texting and stuff like that. The short attention span is a thing. So if you're getting these kids at this age and you're putting this instrument in their hands and you're teaching them that, you're also teaching them to interact with people. It's okay to sit and hang out with other human beings, face to face. So I think that's another plus to what you're doing, aside from the music part, which is great.
Yeah, like you mentioned that all the time on the phone. Basically, here in Finland, I think there will be a law that it's forbidden to have a mobile phone on the classroom. I think it will come soon. but like you said, the interaction with the other kids, uh, kids nowadays, if they just play and don't see facial expressions,
Mm-hmm.
uh, you can see the kids that are playing but not playing with like out there with the other kids, like
Mm-hmm.
playing something a console or a PC or something. uh, they lack a bit of empathy.
Mm.
uh, they,
Yes.
they say stuff they want to say, like hurtful stuff, and they don't really think about the other person's feelings, and they
Mm-hmm.
don't see the facial expression that the other person will make when you offend them.
Yeah.
So that's basically one of those things too.
And that's a huge thing because I mean
Yeah.
we've got enough enough keyboard tough guys in this world
Yeah,
as it is. Everyone can sit at their house and type up whatever they want on in a chat room, on a live stream, whatever. It doesn't even matter. Just posting something on Instagram, Facebook, whatever, because there's no consequences other than somebody coming back like, you're a jerk and you hurt my feelings, and people just don't give a shit.
yeah,
So yeah, if people, especially if you can get them at that age where they learn, it's like, hey, there are consequences, whether it's, I mean, hell, you run the risk of actually getting punched in the face,
yeah,
and I
yeah, yeah,
mean, and, I mean, I know Jason and I are older than you, Ari, but I mean, I'm sure when you were a kid too, if if you got into an argument because of something you said, if you were picking on somebody, I mean, there was a real world possibility of you getting punched in the mouth for being mean.
Mm.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I don't think a lot of especially kids nowadays realize that, hey, you could lose a couple teeth for being an asshole.
Yeah, yeah,
So I mean, I mean that's actually not a bad lesson to learn.
yeah.
Hey,
Basically,
if
that's sometimes at school where I am working. There have been stuff like that, like a couple of kids fighting, noses are bleeding, and
yeah.
um, not a missing tooth, but uh, not far from it. So
Yes, I
basically,
mean,
it's a lesson learned
yeah,
there.
and I think kids do need to learn those lessons, that it's not all easy, and you can't just literally just say whatever you want and get off scot free. If you can teach it, like you said, the empathy, if you can teach that,
Mhm.
then when they get to be 15, 16, 18, up into their 20s, I mean, they'll be like, it's there's a time and a place, and
Yeah,
sometimes it's called for, but I mean, don't do it just to do it.
yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, don't be an asshole just for the sake of being an asshole. I mean,
I think a lot of it though is a lot to do with the parents more than anything
well,
too.
that's true.
You know,
That's true.
because you could look at like, my kid come in and be like, oh, well, I got in this fight and this happened. And I said, okay, well, why'd you do what you did? And he's just, but then you got these kids that come in and don't say nothing, go to their, dad's gun cabinet and then try to go get revenge on somebody for beating their ass. I mean,
Right.
that's the difference in one parent to another. Is like,
Mm-hmm.
you got to teach these kids that, hey, if you open up and you get popped, that's on you. Don't go back and try to take out revenge some
Yeah.
other way. But if there's
Mm-hmm.
nobody there to teach them that, and all they see is the shit they do on TV, then you know
That's
there ain't much options. So
yeah. That
I
Yeah.
think I think
one
I
of the
think
problems, like uh, how parents cope with the children, or how they are raising their children. Uh,
right.
People are raising children differently, and basically the teacher's job is to find the balance with
Mhm.
with the home, how they are raising at home, and we have a basically a structured environment in school. So the balance there is pretty. Sometimes it's hard to find, but I think, like you said, that's one of the parenting is one
Mhm.
greatly uh, uh, how do you say it, like um, one of those greatest things that could mess kids life basically
Mhm.
if it's
Now,
done wrong.
Yeah. Now, as a teacher over there, I wonder if you deal with, you're talking about finding the balance over here in a generally speaking, in a general sense. When, like I say, when we were growing up, if a teacher had an issue with you as a student, and they would send home like a note or whatever, or they would call your parents or whatever, you would get in trouble because the teacher called the house.
Mhm.
And like if the teacher called your parents in, you would get in trouble because the teacher called you in. Now, like I say, I don't know how it is over there, but nowadays, if a kid misbehaves, the parents are getting mad at the school
Mhm.
and not mad at the student for misbehaving. It's kind of done a complete 180, because it used to, because like I say, when I was a kid, if I got in trouble at school, I got in trouble at home for misbehaving at school.
Mhm.
Now, I mean, fast forward, 30, 35 years or whatever, and if a kid misbehaves at school, the parents get pissed at the school and not the student for acting up. So I don't know if it's kind of turned into that over there.
A little bit, yeah, but I still say like 95% of parents are great to
Mhm.
work with. They are wonderful parents, different kind of parenting techniques, but great people. And the 5% are loud. So basically same kind of
Okay,
effect, but they are pretty much loud. So they are making their points heard. But basically, I think it's not that kind of what you said here in Finland.
okay.
Basically,
That's
like,
good.
yeah, that's my experience working with children. Like I've been working like 5 years, so it's
Okay.
my experience. So
Okay,
I would, I would
that's
be that educator to be like, hey, the louder you get, the less I listen. So I mean, we just can go two different ways here. So
right. Yeah, I mean, we can talk like adults all day, but
if you want to be heard, you sit down and talk to me, right? Because you're not,
right.
the more you're yelling, the less I'm going to care. So
yeah,
and I think I think that's the thing too, is we got too many people in our education system that cower down to these people instead of standing up to them and be like, hey, we're not going to tolerate this, but they just say, oh, well, whatever, we'll figure it out, and blah, 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 and then give the student their way, and that's kind of, that's
Right. Yeah.
kind of doing the backwards than what we should be doing. So
Yeah.
yeah,
and I do remember I coached youth football for years, and like I remember a kid, he was just sitting out and he was like playing safety, I think, and he was just sitting out there with his hands behind his back, his feet crossed, and looking around all day. And I asked, I said, hey, you good? Is there something, going on or whatever? And he's like, no, I just don't want to be here. I'm like, okay, like today? Or and he was just like, no, I don't want to play football. I said, well, then why are you here? I mean, that doesn't make sense to me. Well, my mom wants alone time with her boyfriend. I was like, I mean, that shit just pissed me off, dude. I'm just like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, like you're gonna just pawn your kid off? So you pay $60 to pawn him off on us for 2 months anyway, which is crazy. Just so you can have time alone with your boyfriend, which kind of like, I was kind of like torn because I don't want the kid to do something he didn't want to do. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because it wasn't going to help him. It wasn't going to help discipline him, for one, because he's not wanting to play. So do you say something about that, or do you think, okay, well, maybe this is a good thing for him, so he's not involved in whatever's going on between those two, because he could be getting abused in that situation. So
or seeing stuff he shouldn't be seeing.
Exactly. So you're kind of at in like, I'm talking about these age groups, like he's talking about 7-8-year-old kids. So it's kind of like, what do you do? So and it was like a big process of having to go and talk to like the league coordinators and stuff like that. But hey, man, what do we do about this thing? He said, honestly, man, we just stay out of that part of it, and we coach our teams, and that's all you're here to do. So just kind of, and it kind of hurt me in a way, because I feel like I said, we were that outlet, and then he didn't want that's not the outlet he needed. You know what I mean? So I feel like hey, we need to find an outlet he needs. which is cool. I think the kid wound up playing baseball and wound up getting a scholarship somewhere in baseball. So, so he did find his calling. He just took him a little while longer to get there, but still, it was still kind of hurtful at the time that nobody wanted to do anything. It was just like, everybody's just like, yeah, well, the parent can do what they want to do, and we'll just do this. And then the parent's like, well, I don't give a shit. And so it's like, okay, well, who's giving a shit about the kid then? You're not giving a shit. They're not giving a shit. Like, somebody's got to give a shit about them, or they're just going to wind up doing shit they don't need to be doing. So
it's pretty difficult. We have some kind of similar type of stuff, like you mentioned, but we can't do pretty much. We have our hands are tied on those situations. So you have to. I tend to talk to the kids after classes, and basically when they are ready to talk, I try to listen to them. That's all I can do on those situations, basically.
Sometimes, and actually, the funny thing is sometimes, I mean, that's really all a kid needs. It's like just someone please listen to me. So sometimes that's all they need.
Yeah.
Mom and dad don't have time for me at home. Whatever. Just somebody let me vent to somebody. So sometimes it's all they need.
I really love these conversations with other countries just to kind of compare with what what happened, because we don't know. We're not over there, so it's kind of cool. And they're not here, so they're Ari's probably going to get off of here and start praying for our country. So I mean, he's like, man, them guys are fucked up. Well, I mean, if you get any kind of American news over there, you already know that already, probably. So, because I now honestly get most of my American news from Australia, which is wild because they seem to know more about what's going on here than our, I said they seem to be more about reporting what actually goes on here than our media does. So so that I think that's the big issue is our media just don't report on the things that they should be reporting on.
Yeah. All right. Well, moving away from current
events. We kind of, but I still think that's pretty cool to kind of.
No, it absolutely
as a conversation. I know we're supposed to be talking about music, but anytime we talk from bands from Finland and Sweden, and we just had a band from Iceland, which was the first band from Iceland we had on. So I thought all that was kind of. Really so history and stuff like that fascinates me anyway.
Me too.
So anytime I hear something about how another country does certain things, I'm just like, man, that's crazy.
I know.
And a lot of times I'm sitting there going, why the fuck are we not doing that? Like, you know what I mean? It's like
Iceland is a beautiful country. I've actually been there with my wife. We went there on our honeymoon, and I fell in love with that country. If you have chance, go visit Iceland.
I would love to.
It's a great country.
Yeah, and I always found it fascinating too that Iceland's green and Greenland's ice. So it's
That's like
it's like who named these countries, man?
Yeah, right.
But who knows? At the time they were named, it may have been opposite. You never know.
Yeah, I mean,
with the way
that's true. Climate change.
The world, the world goes through its cycles.
Oh yeah.
So it's pretty.
Yeah. All right. So we talked about this briefly before the show, but you have, and we have talked to a couple of bands already. And since we're going to do that, I want to give a quick shout out to Lassie over there at Never Fade. We finally got our patches. So you have joined the alliance of the new wave of Finnish heavy metal with Lassie and Never Fade, and the guys over at Barrel, both bands who have been on the show before. So, like Jason said, I mean, we're slowly working our way through the alliance. We may have to look at who else is in there and just start handing out invitations because, it would be cool to get everybody that's in the alliance now. Of course, we hope the alliance expands though too. Right. So it's awesome that you have joined. So
and I don't remember how we come across the Reality Machine, but I know those two bands actually sent us.
He actually reached out to us.
Oh, that's what I thought.
Yep. He sent us. He sent us the. What was that? What was it? The press kit basically that he sent us.
Yeah. And everything, the EP and lyric video and everything. Yeah. But basically, I heard from you guys. Basically, from Never Fade. I followed them on Instagram and heard about you guys and love what you do. So basically, you are a great fit for the new wave of Finnish heavy metal alliance. By that.
Well, if we have to be the spokespersons, I guess we'll just have to move.
Oh,
there.
well, I will. I will gladly be the spokesperson for any alliance of any new wave of any heavy metal. I mean, I will gladly be. We will gladly be the American arm of the new wave of Finnish heavy metal. Without question.
Well, I've said this before with other bands on here too, and I think that's important for what we do is because we try to bring those, the European, the bands and stuff over into the American, limelight because we don't hear about a lot of stuff that goes on there, and then, unless we're following, certain bands like you follow Never Fade and heard about us, so it's it kind of works out great, and it's crazy because I thought that was the correct thing, but I didn't want to speak out of context, but you sent in stuff. Never Fade sent us in the single, and Barrel sent us in, so that you guys have all sent us in stuff, and then we kind of initiated the conversation after that, which was and like I said, everybody we've heard out of this thing has been amazing so far.
Absolutely.
So I'm kind of I haven't dug into it much yet because I've been in a remodel over here at my house. But as soon as I get that done and get time, I'm actually going to sit down and go through the new wave of Finnish heavy metal and see what all other bands they have in the collection there. So
basically I found them through Never Fade. I found Never Fade on Instagram, and then I found the new wave of Finnish heavy metal, and I thought like Reality Machine fits perfectly. Oh, it's my dog.
That's okay. My dog's in here too. I'm surprised she's been so quiet.
So basically, I thought like a new Reality Machine fits perfectly to the new wave of Finnish heavy metal. So it started like that way, and I contacted Never Faded that maybe if I could join them, it would be perfect fit, and they agreed, and so here we are, basically.
Nice.
Yeah. So how long ago was that? Because I mean, the announcement was basically just made, a few days ago. Because it was this week that we saw it on Facebook. So I mean, how long has the communication process been with them?
It's been like basically like 2 weeks.
Oh, okay, all right.
Not that far. So it's pretty new. Like you said a couple of days ago. Was it yesterday or maybe 2 days ago?
Yeah.
The announcement, but basically like 2 weeks ago we started talking about the alliance, joining the alliance, and I think I'm the Reality Machine is the only band that is out not from Tampere. I'm not sure about don't quote me on that, but I think all the other bands are from Tampere, Finland.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I think I'll Never Fade are from Tampere.
Yeah.
So basically,
Yeah. I don't have like a map of Finland, but how far away from Tampere is Pori?
It's like 130 kilometers, like an hour and a half drive. So not that far.
Okay. Yeah.
And Barrel is also from Tampere too. So
yeah.
So
Tampere is a really great rock city.
Yeah.
It's like I think it's the second largest city in Finland after Helsinki.
Yeah, after Helsinki, yeah. Now, now that you are in the alliance, and you're going to be building a camaraderie with the people like in Never Fade and Barrel, and like I say, we don't exactly remember off the top of our heads all the other bands, but we will dig into that. Do you think if you're looking for a vocalist now for your next EP, do you think you may be able to kind of lean on those guys? Do you think they may have any connections that could help?
Maybe. I don't know. I have to talk to the guys. I haven't really thought about it. Thank you for mentioning it. Maybe I use their help to get a vocalist or maybe like maybe it could be like some kind of Avantasia type of thing where they're like many vocalists on a one EP or one album. Sure. Everything is on the table.
Yeah. What is what does it mean to you to be a part of something like this? this alliance? Because when we talked to Lassie not too long ago, he was talking about how much it meant to him to kind of get this thing started and get it moving forward, to kind of keep the sound that your country is known for, keeping it alive and keeping it growing and moving forward. So what does it mean to you to be a part of something like this?
It means a lot because I think it validates our kind of music, the pure heavy metal type of music. Because nowadays it's a bit more like deathcore type or new metal type of stuff. So I think when I found the new wave of Finnish heavy metal, I think it stands for something in similar way like a new wave of British heavy metal. It stands for something. So I think it validates the Reality Machine type of music, the pure heavy metal. It means a lot. And also it's great to promote great bands to the world. So like you guys can hear what we make here in Finland, what kind of pure heavy metal we make here.
And I think that's it's kind of a product that can carry on too, and you know what I'm saying, like you can keep the new wave of Finnish heavy metal going forever, because
I think you can.
Everything's always going to be changing, and you're always going to have a new wave of it at some point. So
I think so too, and that's the great thing about social media and the internet, because we can connect with these bands, and maybe it's not too far-fetched to maybe get these bands to play here in Pori. Right. Or I get to get these other guys to play Reality Machine live gigs, like in the Avantasia type of thing.
Right.
Maybe.
Yeah. Because what I like about it too is, there are obviously there are a lot of other bands in Finland, heavy metal bands. You've got Lordi, you've got Amorphous, a couple of our other previous guests. I mean, you've got Anzalu, you've got Arched Fire, but you guys are moving things forward, because one of my favorite bands out of Finland of all time is Sentenced, and they broke up in 2005, but Ville Laihiala, he's still around making music. He was in Poison Black, and I'm not 100% sure if Poison Black is still around, but I mean, he was doing that after he did Sentenced. So I mean, he's still around making music, but Sentenced was amazing to me. They actually may have been the first Finnish band that I had ever heard of. Of course, I probably have to look back at that. Of course, they were around in the 90s. So, I mean, I was in my teens. So that was when I first discovered Sentenced. So, I hated when they broke up, but you guys having this alliance now, it's something that can keep it alive and let it grow and move it forward. So even if, someone like Sentenced, that goes away, or even if, of course we all get old at some point. So, I mean, you guys have established this thing now. It's something that can flourish even, if a band breaks up, if a band ages out. It's something that you guys have started that you guys can be the leaders of, that people can follow as it moves forward. That's what's so great about it. It's a tangible thing at this point. Now that it's become this thing, it's a tangible thing.
And that's great to think, like in similar way, like a new wave of British heavy metal. Many of those bands are not around anymore, but people are listening. People are finding that kind of music. I tend to listen to music. I tend to search music from YouTube, like new wave of British heavy metal, and I found like a Grim Reaper, which is like one of the greatest new wave of British heavy metal bands that I found. I found it like that way. I hope new wave of Finnish heavy metal have the same kind of effect. Somebody might find Never Fade, and by that find my stuff, the Reality Machine, or other bands like that. So I hope, like you said, it will flourish from beyond our existence.
Well, I mean,
I go to YouTube a lot too for the new wave of traditional heavy metal a lot too. So so I actually follow those guys over there. So So definitely. And you was bringing up Poison Black. I just looked that up. They actually went on hiatus in 15, and they just regrouped in 23. So
Okay, that's good to
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
so
I read somewhere there like a small reunion tour, like
mhm.
Okay, that's
little
good.
club kicks.
Yeah, because I mean, Billy just has one of those voices. You know, it's just
Yeah,
one of
yeah,
those voices that you know it when you hear it. At least to me, he does. You know, having listened to Sentenced from way back in the '90s. To me, he's just I would know that voice when I heard it. He just has one of those voices for me. So
yeah.
it's good to
Well,
know that. Good to know that whether or not it's a long term thing that Poison Black may still be
yeah.
kind of kicking around. So it's
Great,
good.
great. You mentioned the sentence. It's like when we talk earlier about the iskelma, the slager.
Mhm.
Sentenced is like Finnish slager music, but with heavy metal guitars. It's like very
Okay.
melancholic and
Oh
maybe
yeah,
sad. Uh,
yeah.
Pretty much iskelma, the slager music. It's pretty much that. Sentence just added heavy guitars on it,
Okay.
basically.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, that actually kind of makes knowing that now that kind of makes sense because the
Mhm.
entire Frozen album was like that.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like the entire Frozen album was like, God damn, this is sad, but it was good because it was dark and it was heavy and it's like, holy shit.
yeah.
But knowing that now, it makes total sense.
Well, hopefully that the streak could carry on with kind of what goes on over here. Is that we've had a lot of bands kind of get back together for reunion tours or whatever, and now they're talking
Yeah,
about making new music. So hopefully
that'd be nice.
hopefully that'll rekindle some fires and some bellies over there, and they'll get back to writing some new stuff. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Ari, I have to ask this because it's kind of because I'm a fan of this other band, and you'll know why in a second. But this is I'm wanting to ask this because of like my American ignorance. But your last name, are you any relation? Even you see, you already know where I'm going with this.
Yeah, yeah,
Are you any relation, even whether it's distant or not, to Timo?
yes.
Are you?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. All the kotipeltos are related,
Okay.
Okay.
All right. I
actually.
didn't because, like I say, I
Yeah,
asked because I didn't know if Coti Pelto was like Smith or or White or Jones over here, so I didn't know
Right.
if it was a
yeah, yeah,
common
yeah, yeah.
name. Okay.
Uh, it sounds like a basic Finnish surname, kotipelto. It actually means home field, but we have like maybe 60 kotipeltos all around the
Okay.
world, and to my knowledge, we are all related. So Timo is from my father's side. He's my
Okay.
father's distant cousin or something like that. I
Okay.
get
All right.
I get asked that question a lot, so I knew it was coming sooner or later.
Yeah. Like I say, I was just asking, like I say, because I didn't know the commonality of it over there,
Yeah,
and also being a Stradivarius fan for a long
yeah,
time
Mm.
too. So
me too. It's like a Stradivarius is it's really big band for us here in Finland because it was like the biggest power metal band of the 90s here in Finland.
mhm.
After that, it was like Sonata Arctica and all the other stuff, but Stratovarius was the greatest and biggest band.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
everybody knows them.
yeah, I probably actually discovered Stradivarius not too long after Sentenced. I think I discovered Stradivarius around I think it might have been the Infinity album. I think is when
Yeah,
I had discovered Stradivarius, and I mean, and of course, just like with Billy, I mean, Timo's just got a voice that
yeah,
you would know it when you heard it, and Timo can absolutely belt it out. It's crazy.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So
Similar
that's
voice to Kiske, I think, like belting really
from
high.
Halloween. Yeah.
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 Mm.
Yeah. It's a pretty good comparison, I'd say. Yeah. So, I mean, all right. So how
Yeah.
often, I mean, how often do you get to talk to to the rest of the Coti Peltos, in general? I mean, are you guys spread out far and wide out there?
Pretty much, yeah. So I've never met Timo in person. I've seen him live on gigs, but not like in person. I've never talked to him. Uh, I think it's like all the kotipeltos are like we have I live in Pori, which is far from where my family side is from. The Kotipeltos are from a different side of the country, so
Okay.
I don't get to see them, the whole family, a lot.
Okay.
Basically, the main family, like my parents and grandparents, who are passed away already, but
Oh, I'm sorry.
they're pretty much like the close family, not really the other Kotipeltos.
Okay. All right. I mean,
Well,
it's still cool to have like that musical lineage, though. So kind of nice.
Yeah, and it's a really great advantage to have the same surname as Kotipelto, because
Hey,
it's really,
it definitely does. It doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt.
yeah.
I was just looking. I thought that Stradivarius just put out a new single, but maybe I was wrong. So
Well, they had a new album come out.
Yeah.
I'd have to look. I think it was last year that they.
Yeah, I think it was
2022 was the last album.
Oh,
so.
22.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
I knew it was recently.
But I could have swore I was going through one of these and they had like a new single, and I was like, oh, okay. But I could be wrong.
Well, I mean, they may have one in the works. Don't really know.
Yeah, I thought it was like on one of my playlists I kind of pull from the new releases from. I thought I seen it on there, but I guess it could have been them guesting on something too, where I just seen Stradivarius and
I think
so.
I think Timo does. I mean, of course, Timo. I don't know if this is still a thing, but Timo has his own side project apart from Stradivarius too. So he's got a project he's got a namesake project. He's got a Kotipelto project. So, I mean, maybe could have been something to do with that. I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, like I said, I don't remember, and I do know that they've definitely been a mainstream band over there. So
for a long time.
Yeah.
For since the 90s or something else.
Yeah, Stradivarius basically on many summer festivals here in Finland, and also you mentioned the Kotipelto solo stuff. I think he has 2-3 major hit singles here in Finland for his solo project. So he's pretty known guy here.
Yeah. Yeah, he does seem to keep himself pretty busy.
Yeah.
So this question kind of comes out more when we talk about people on the road, but I'm kind of curious because you said you did a lot of wedding singing stuff. So I'm gonna kind of play off something we usually do and kind of put you in a spot with that. What are some of the craziest things you've ever seen doing a performance at a wedding?
Oh, not that crazy here in Finland, or in a Finnish environment. Not that crazy. Basically, drunken people, every wedding, but they are pretty wild. Like the last gig, like a week ago, 2 weeks ago, we had with the band. It was like everyone was partying and drinking. It was like all the grandfathers and grandparents were there, like drunken and partying. But it's not that crazy. Nothing's broken and nothing's no fighting, but just very drunken people partying. It's not that crazy after all.
Yeah, I was when you said that, I was just thinking about. I was like, man, there's got to be some crazy stuff that happens at some of these weddings if you're performing at weddings. Like, somebody get drunk and stand up during the. Does anybody want to object?
There been people like on our stages after our show and taking our guitars and stuff like that, but not that bad kind of stuff like. So it's pretty tame here actually. But for the stories about the rest of the day, not about the gigs, but the rest of the day, like people don't actually realize how much we need space as a band. So they're basically thinking like every corner of you can play on the corner right there on the hall, and it's like a small small corner with like one electrical what you call it.
one outlet.
Yeah, and like we asked where can we change our clothes, and they're like what clothes? They don't understand what they are ordering, what they are getting.
Right.
Like we need a backstage where we could like change our clothes or maybe drink some water before we come to play to you. So those kind of stuff and everything. Like in Finland, it's we played a show here where like we've been ordered to play there, and we were like waiting to be like great party because it was advertised like a great party. And it was for some car club or something like that. And we went there playing, and we played everything we thought like they would love, and it was like dead, nothing. So
No.
we were like, well, let's play our hour and a half here and take it as a practice and get the money and get the hell out of there.
I kind of love. I just seen a thing that I think I shared it on our Facebook page, but I just seen a thing where this chick was trying to like go through the motions of all the fans of metal, and then she was like, you got the your headbanger and your surfer, and then you got the people that just and then you got the people just standing there like, just looking and like not doing anything, and then you got the people that stay at the bar more than they do the fucking show.
Yeah.
The camera people that do the whole show.
Yeah.
Which is
those people are always like I don't get that. Sometimes I get it, like you take a picture or two, but the people who are standing there like an hour and a half filming the whole concert. I don't get it.
So the thing that I do is like I do that a lot just because I want to hear some of my favorite songs and what they sound like live. So I do record it. I keep I got all of my stuff on my computer though, so I'll eventually just put it on a flash drive or whatever just to have it. But I don't share it with anybody. It's just for my personal thing. But I like to like record like some of my favorite songs when they perform them, and then I do my pictures while I'm doing that because you still have access to your camera, so you can just hit when you want to take pictures and stuff. So and then I usually go through and edit what I want and keep what I want and get rid of what I don't. So, and there's no sense in standing for an hour and a half with and the thing with me is like I've seen Machine Head 3 or 4 times now, so and I try to record something different when I go, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'll get like, and of course they don't play the same songs all the time either,
right?
So that you kind of like, oh well, we'll just get this, and then we'll catch them the next time or whatever. And it gives me a reason to catch them again, I think.
Absolutely.
Because you're like, oh well, if you do the whole hour and a half show, then why would you ever go back and see a band again? Because you just recorded everything they've done. Like it's kind of
that's different. Like a 1 or 2 song, and I tend to do it like I just went to see Bruce Dickinson and Judas Priest here in Finland, and it's like when I see a great spot to take pictures, I just grab my phone and click and put it away and just enjoy the show. Or I see people taking like a song or two and then maybe put it on YouTube, but I don't get the people who like the whole hour and a half standing
right. I don't
aren't your hand hurting when you're holding the phone like this for hour and a half?
Yeah, I depending on how many like acts are on a bill, I like to take a couple of pictures of each band playing, and then as the show moves along, like whether it's Havoc or Machine Head or Metallica, whatever, if a song, like just like Jason, if a song that I really want to hear, they play one of those, I may record the song. Right. But I'm trying to watch the show as much as possible. I mean, because after we're done with the interview today, I can go watch an entire concert of any band I want if I want to do that.
Yeah.
But if I'm paying to go, I'm gonna watch as much of it as I can. Right. Sure, I want a few little memories. If I can get a good shot of one of the guitarists, or if the vocalist is got his leg up on the monitor and he's belting one out and the lighting is right. If I can get a couple of cool pictures of each band, just some memories. But other than that, I want all the memories to be in here.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so I just I'm with you, Ari. I don't get the
Same,
whole
One of my most recent. Go ahead.
from perspective of band, it's pretty sad to see only phones, not faces. That's not something that you want as an artist to see.
Sure.
So that's one thing. Like from when I'm thinking, always thinking also the band that's coming to play for you, like Judas Priest all over the world, and then you get to your town and all they see is like a sea of phones. So I don't really get that perspective, and I always tend to think about the band also on this.
That's true.
I know one thing like with that too is I can't wait to see Accept coming up later in the year because Martin Motnick has been on the show. So you know, if he just sees my phone, he's not even gonna know I was there. But if I get close enough to be like, hey, and he sees me, then he's like, oh, cool, you made it. You know?
And that is the real connection, and I think the bands will remember the fans that are coming to shows, to many shows, and fans that they are talked.
Right.
And
I've seen the band Nonpoint. I've seen them like 10, 11 times. So you know, and I've met the guys at least 3 to 4 times. So and like when the last couple of times I've been there, and I've had like Elias do the birthday shout outs on Cameo to my wife. So I mean, we've done a lot of things with those guys. So when we do show up, they don't know us by name by no means because that would be too. But he'll see me, he goes, "Hey," you know, he remembers my face. So you know, because we met and he's seen me, and you know, I've been front row in a few shows, so he kind of remembers your face like that. So I agree. Like if you got a camera there, then they're like, I don't remember you, and you put your camera up. Like, okay, yeah.
You get like this.
Oh
I remember you now. I remember you
but
now.
That's the real connection. What you want with your fans. Basically.
Well, because
you see them, you talk with them. That's what you really want to connect with them.
And you make eye contact with them if you're that close to the stage and stuff, so they kind of remember, you know, you being there. And I'm sure Rob Flynn from Machine Head remembers a lot of people that get his what's that thing he gives out, the Rager.
The most valuable Rager. Sure.
Yeah. So you know, I'm sure he remembers those guys that get those, or girls that get those. So I mean, so.
Because the great thing about it is, you know, and the funny thing, you see memes about it all the time on Facebook. But I mean, you know, if people are, especially the people, you know, right up, close to the stage, you know, a few rows deep, you know, Ari, I'm sure, you know, you've seen this. I mean, you communicate without talking, because I mean, you know, everyone's seen the meme is like, you know, when the breakdown hits and the fan makes this face. You know, everyone's seen that meme. So you do communicate without talking, because when you can actually see a person's face, you know that they're responding. Because you know they make that face when a breakdown or something hits real hard. They're like, oh hell yeah, you know. So I mean, you know, you communicate without talking.
Yeah,
you can't do that if there's a barrier in front of them.
And it's like taking you out of the situation when you're holding the phone. It's like if I'm holding phone right here and checking it, like it's taking myself out of this situation talking with you guys. So it's always, to me, it's always important to be on the situation, on the spot with the band alive.
Yeah, to be present, and to take it like even like a little bit further. It's a respect thing, man.
Yeah,
I mean, just be respectful.
Yeah,
and this
really.
And it's like, you know, a lot of people get mad about it, because I was at a comedy show a while back, and one of the people were raising hell because they couldn't keep their phone, and they were just like, dude, you're like, you can't record somebody's comedy act, because Dave Chappelle, I think, said it best. He's like, yeah, if you come in with he was talking about how he kicked somebody out of one show in Boston or something because he had a show in New York coming up like 2 days later. And he says, well, hell, if they record my whole show, put it on YouTube, what the hell am I going to? I can't write jokes in 2 days for a new show in New York. You know what I mean? It's like, which makes sense, you know, which as a musician, it's a little different, because, you know, you're going to have a different, you know, set list and all that stuff.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah. But I'm just saying, like, it's a little easier for that way. But I'm just giving it as an example. As you know, this is kind of what it hurts you bringing your phone and recording the whole thing, just because. You know, you put that on YouTube. Okay, why would I want to go why would I go watch the show now? I already know every song they're going to play.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah.
and I think that's the thing with me. Like I'll look at set lists every once in a while because I'm kind of like I'm not real familiar with the band. You know what I'm saying? So I'm kind of like I'm looking for certain songs. So I'm kind of like, okay, when are they playing this song? So I kind of want to get a feel of like when the because I just went and seen a Bonham Burning Body not long ago, which is I like them, but I don't know their whole I don't know their whole catalog. I mean, I know about two albums maybe.
Mhm.
But there was like certain songs I wanted to hear, which I only got to hear one of the two that I wanted to. But but the thing is, I wanted to know if that was going to be played or not before I got there, so I kind of know what part of the show to be kind of prepared to break out the phone. That's the other time I'm just going to be listening because I don't know a lot of their catalog.
Yeah.
Which is fine. I mean, and I think that's so. To me, I think the important part about bands is who they bring to open for them. I think that's a big thing, especially with with me doing what I do. Is I'm always looking for another band to come on and talk to. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So a lot of times you'll get these bands that are on before the big acts, and you're like, oh man, these guys are cool. So I'll check them out. So I'll check them out or whatever, and then sometimes I'll hit them up like, hey, I caught the show at Nashville, and love to talk to you guys or whatever. And sometimes it works, sometimes it don't. But it
Right.
is what it is. It's like all I can do is put fillers out there and give them, And I've had bands be like, "Oh, well, we can't do anything right now," and I'll be like, "Hey, it's an open invitation. You get time, just hit us back up."
Absolutely.
No worries. Like we're not here to you can tell right now. We're not here to beat you to death about information. And probably some stuff that you're going to get asked 100 times, like you're talking about being kin to Timu or whatever. But but it's like we didn't know that because we haven't seen any interviews. But most of the time, if there's somebody that's like been around for a little bit, and we try to watch a few interviews just so we don't ask them redundant questions that they've answered like 100 times. You know what I mean? But it's just I think like the opening acts kind of give you a feel and honestly, opening act should get you hyped up for the big bands. That's just my opinion. But I don't want to be at a Havoc show and see somebody come out and it's just like, really, they're opening for Havoc. You know what I mean? It's like, you want to be like into it by the time Havoc gets out there. So
it's like a supporting band is like a make it or break it deal.
Right.
I get to see like for opening for Maiden like Trivium. First time I saw them, it was like mind blowing as a kid. Avenged Sevenfold, before they were big bands, they were opening for Iron Man, so it was like great. But there have been also shitty supporting acts like I mentioned Judas Priest. They were opened like a couple of DJs. They just stood there and played.
It doesn't fit.
Like what the fuck is this?
It doesn't. It doesn't fit.
But and again after that, I saw Bruce Dickinson. They were like a Finnish band called Temple Balls. It was great opener. Not similar to Bruce. I think it's more like a Van Halen kind of stuff.
Okay,
like hard rock type heavy metal. But it was like great. And people loved it. So supporting band is really, like you said, it's getting the crowd warmed up. It's really important to have the right kind of band to open them.
Yeah. And I don't think there's nothing more frustrating for a band to be opening and be like, are you guys with me? Are you guys ready? And you hear like two people, like,
yeah,
man, there's like 300 people in here. What the hell?
And like you mentioned, like I think Kiss is very notorious having an opening band that is like nobody knows them, and they're like some I don't like some band that Gene Simmons have found. And I saw Kiss like 2008, and they were opened by some band, little known band, and I remember nobody was clapping, nobody was listening to them. Only time they were getting cheered when they said this is our last song. Everybody
Oh
like,
no.
woo! Now we
Oh
get
my
to see the
god.
keys.
Oh
So
man.
that was one of the worst experiences. I don't remember that band at all, but maybe that's the reason maybe nobody remembers them. I don't know if anybody remembers them anymore.
I think that's a good thing about some of the festivals, though, is you got that one stage that has a lot of people, bands that a lot of doesn't have a lot of notoriety, so you can kind of walk over and check that out in between, the bands that you want to see at those festivals or whatever. But and actually, we've gotten a couple of that's how we started this. Is I got a couple of bands that I've seen at a festival on the show first, and then it just kind of took off. So, for us to be sitting here talking to bands like you. A couple of years later is pretty amazing to me. So, nice. I appreciate everybody taking their time out to talk to us. So,
Oh yeah, we always do. And then especially being like so far ahead of us. I mean, you're getting into your evening. We're
right.
just now creeping up. We're just now starting to creep up on lunchtime.
Yeah.
So I mean,
Mhm.
so it's always appreciated. Especially when there's such a vast time difference like this. So
Yeah.
Yeah, we
So
we try to accommodate for that too. Is just like I think I'm pretty sure I wrote you when I was setting this up. Is we do Friday night shows, but I know the time difference. We're willing to do a Saturday morning, so you don't have to stay up till or get up at like 5 a.m. to come talk to us, which has happened. I think Barrel actually did that, didn't they? Then they actually got up at like 5 or 6 in the morning.
Well, Lassie did too, didn't he?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
Yeah, Lassie got up at like 5 a.m. Like when he came into the studio, he was like knocking back a coffee and everything.
Yeah. I feel bad, man, when I am, because I'm like, there are options. I'm not trying to, but I guess they just felt like it. Hey, we don't want you changing your stuff or whatever.
Yeah,
But we don't mind that, man. It's like
no,
that's why I put it out there. Like, hey, we can do this or this. It doesn't matter to me. Whatever's convenient for you. So,
and it's great to have an option like you said 6 a.m. Like I'm waking up like 6 a.m. because I have a son that's born like April, so he's very.
Oh, congratulations!
Thank you. So he's keeping us both up.
Oh yeah,
waking up 6 a.m. is nothing to me.
Right.
No, but maybe my English is not that good at 6 a.m. basically.
Hell, the funny thing is with an infant, getting to sleep until 6 a.m. is like a bonus.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Well, he didn't say he didn't get woke up numerous times throughout the night either.
That's true. That's true. Yeah,
we've got pretty easy. Our son Oliver wakes up like one time.
Oh, so that's not bad. That's not bad.
That's not bad.
Yeah, I remember plenty of 3 a.m. feedings. I remember plenty of those.
Yeah, I got my nephew actually lives with us, and him and his girlfriend they got a 1-year-old, and she'll wake up one time during the night most of the time and then back to sleep. So I kind of relate to that, I guess. So
yeah,
I work night shift, so it's kind of like this is like my sacrifice to what I do right now, because I'm never up at this time of day. So it's definitely this is what I consider my sacrifice for the show. So I know Chris works nights or works days. So when we do the night shows, he's sacrificing for me. So I feel like I should do the same for him sometimes. So.
Oh, it's totally worth it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's I don't really consider it a sacrifice. I mean, because it's totally worth it. I mean, even if we weren't having an interview today, I mean, just anything we do for the show, I mean, it's totally worth it. Whether we're doing just a regular news format or we've got a guest on, I mean, it's all worth it. And I'm sure Ari, you probably feel the same way when it comes to whatever all of your projects. It probably feels like it's all worth the payoff too. So
yeah, like you don't get to be rich with this music, but you don't do this for money at all.
Yeah, we definitely aren't.
It's because you love it. Like you said, but sacrifices. I've sacrificed, like I may have like a regular day job, 8 to 15 maybe, and after that I go to play a gig, and I come home like 1 in the morning or 2 in the morning and have to go to the other job again
Oh, yeah.
in the morning. So that's my sacrifice.
Right.
But
Oh, yeah.
it's for the love of music.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And with you, it's like you get to do it, at night, and then go back in the morning and do it again. So it's like, I mean, it's different music, but it's still music. So
Yeah,
you get to play it and then get to turn around and teach it. So that's pretty awesome.
And probably get to this is where I played last night, and I'm sure the kids are like, "Wow, that's cool." So I mean, I'm sure. Excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
Still fighting off this goddamn illness.
Yeah.
But I'm sure it's kind of like doubly cool to be able to teach the kids, but also be like, guess where I was last night, so stuff like that. Guess who I got to play in front of, or all this other stuff. So
yeah, they're like to me, some show may not be that big, but for them it's like playing a stadium. So when you tell the kids, and kids are like, wow, it's it's great feeling. Like somebody, and it might inspire someone. I want to do that too.
Right. Yeah.
And well, I think it we're not going to get into this, Chris. So don't pull up videos this week. But I think like when you.
Are you sure? I could real quick. Are you sure?
Because like I said, I've been in entertainment business before too, so it's kind of like you go out there and you do your best work, no matter if there's 12 people or 200 people or 2,000 people. I mean, you just go out there and do, because like you said, you love to do what you do. So you go out there and do, perform for whatever's there, but because I feel like, I don't know how it is there, but I feel like here, we were talking about this with someone recently, but we were talking about how the promoters, I think if you're promoting, then I mean that's your job, is to promote the band. The band shouldn't have to go out and promote themselves. So if if you're coming to play my show, I'm like, hey, I'm giving you $200. Well, you get that $200 regardless of who's there, because I made an agreement with you. So if I don't bring in enough people to make up for that, then I'm going to lose money. So that's what I'm saying. Like, the promoters should do what it's supposed to do, so everybody makes money. Not say, oh well, we're just gonna depend on your music. I said, well, every band can't do that. Like, there's bigger bands out there that you don't have to do Queensryche and stuff like that. I mean, they're gonna bring in money just because of their name. But you got like I said, you got these bands like like I went and seen Up on a Burning Body. They had the Browning and Hollow Front, which are mediocre notoriety. They're not huge. Like, you bring it up, everybody's not going to know them. But that's where the promoter comes in, like, hey, you got these bands, this band, open it up for Up on a Burning Body. Then you're like, oh. And then you start checking those bands out before you go to the show. And then you sell more tickets. You know what I mean? So that's how it works. It's like, if you don't say anything, nobody knows who's there. So you're basically just bringing in 50 people that know who, Up on a Burning Body is or whatever. So if you're putting it out there before, then you're checking out these other bands. You're like, oh yeah, I got to go to this show. You're probably going to bring in another 100 people because of putting it out there early and promoting it. So
and talking about the music promotion and the band promotion, nowadays it's easier, but it's also hard. Like, it's easy to reach out, like you guys, or like any other, like a media outlet. It's easy to reach out, but like bands nowadays, you have to be on TikTok and do these silly videos to promote you. Like, I'm not going to do that. It's pretty hard for me to do stuff like that. So I would love if somebody else do the promotion type of thing and get the word out, so I can focus on music and not to be a promoter. Because, like, let's face it, nowadays a band our size is pretty much like, you have to be a promoter, and you have to be a video editor, and you have to be a photograph. You have to take your own photographs, and you have to do basically everything yourself. And it's more and more nowadays, you have to do everything professionally yourself.
Right.
So like, the standards are pretty high nowadays. So it's really difficult to make it.
And I think that's where where a record label could still help some bands right there is with promotion and stuff like that. So I know we've recently acquired a relationship with Affiant Records, and they've definitely been helping a lot of their bands out. I see them promoting constantly.
Yes.
I mean, one of their bands has always been promoted on socials and all that good stuff. So I mean, I think that's kind of where the bad thing is every label's not like that. That's what's kind of sad. Is like some labels just want your money and like well, we'll do this for you, and that's the minimum, and that's what they do. They do the minimum, and that's it. So it's kind of like to me though, it's like if you're not making, if you're under my label and you're not making money, then I'm not making money. I mean, because the more people that know you, gonna know me. So
right,
So I don't understand the concept with a lot of that thing. To me, it doesn't make any common sense. Maybe it looks good on paper to them or something. I don't know, but.
I think it's like that. Like it looks good on paper.
Yeah.
For a label, you have to find it the perfect match. Like
right.
When I'm thinking about Reality Machine, I don't see myself on like this major label, Sony or anything like that, because I'll be a small fish in a big pond, basically.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But on the other hand, like you said, maybe not the small label that's just doesn't give a goddamn what I'm doing. It has to be some label that really likes your music and want to show it to the world. Basically, you have to find the right label for it.
Yeah. Well, maybe one day we'll get rich enough. We'll start our own label and we'll just put all you guys on it.
And... that'd be that'd be cool.
Contact me first.
That'd be neat. I never even thought about that. Starting a label. That's a great idea. Yeah. Never even thought about that. Especially one that's just heavy. And of course, you've got Metal Blade and Nuclear Blast. I mean, you've got metal. You have metal centric labels. I mean, I'm not saying they're not out there, but yeah, I mean that would be
but like he was saying, it's like you kind of if you're on a label with say Iron Maiden and bands like that, then you're
who's getting the
well, you're going to get lost in the shuffle because they're concentrating on bands like Iron Maiden, like because they know the record label knows if they lose bands like that, they're going to lose a lot of money, so they're going to try to make those guys happy as possible. Whereas I think I think the whole problem with it is like a lot of these people are get rich. They just want to get rich, and that's not like people like all of us sitting here aren't about that. Like we'd love to have money, yes.
Oh sure,
but you're making a living. I guess I should say you want to make a living doing what you love to do. That's the thing. Yeah. Like I've always said that when I was in performing, they were just like, "Hey, you want to go to this big time league?" I'm like, not really. I mean, as long as I can make a living, that's all I really cared about. I never got to that point, but that's what I was working for. I was never trying to like be the biggest, name on the marquee or anything like that. That wasn't what I was about, because that wasn't my end game, I guess. Like my whole end game was to be in behind the scenes at some point. So I never wanted to be, name and lights and everything. And then I just wanted to be there. I just wanted to be right there enough to make an impact to be like, okay, this guy could be in storylines or something like that. So that's kind of where I was. So I think it just depends on what your end goal is with music. I mean, if your end goal is to play in front of a stadium of 200,000 people or something, then I guess, you have a long, we would have a long way to go. But if you just want to play music for the love of music, and hey, if 200 people show up, if 50 people show up, if 1,000 people show up, that's great,
So basically, the goal would be like to make a living, so you can focus making the music all day.
Right? Exactly.
Like,
yeah. I mean, if I could do this all day long, that would be like a dream come true. If I could just sit here and be metal all day long, and just sit here for 6-8 hours a day just researching stuff and putting out content on a daily basis instead of a weekly basis. I mean, that would be great, but. Of course, I wouldn't never do 2 and 3 hours of content every day. That would be a little much. But we could do SNL skits where we could dress up like news anchors for metal or something. And
that's a good idea.
just do daily stuff. But yeah, I think it always depends on, like, I think people don't set a realistic end game. I think that's kind of what it is. It's like, you got to be kind of realistic with it. And so I think if you're like, okay, I want to play music for a living, but and say I just want to enjoy what I do though. So I think when you do that and then you wind up, making $1,500 a night, you're like, wow, this is great. You know what I mean? It's like, because you think, because you haven't set that goal to like, hey, I should be making millions of dollars. So because I mean, if you set your goal that high to begin with, then you're kind of like, there's nowhere to go. You know what I mean? It's kind of like you've already set things so high that once you get there, there's no you peaked, and there's nowhere else to go. So,
well, or at the same time, if you set your goals so high, you run the risk of always feeling like you failed because you didn't just
exactly
make it to the top of the mountain, and you were the next big thing, or you weren't the next greatest of all time, or whatever. So I mean, take things in increments. So,
well, I mean, if anybody knows the story of Metallica, if you would have said they would be as big as they are now in '86, we'd have probably laughed at you because
probably
they were drunks and we were like, oh, because we were just like, oh, this band's never going to make it. You know what I mean? They're going to fucking blow up from the inside at some point. But they persevered and became one of the biggest names in metal. So it's kind of like, did they set out for that goal in the beginning? I don't know, but they definitely they definitely
she's getting a little rambunctious for you.
But they definitely made it to the pinnacle of their career. And I mean, there's no like I said, there's nowhere for them to go, but they're just going to have to stay where they're at because they've kind of made it, and that's it.
Yeah.
So
and basically they can do what they want to do.
Right. They want to make. They want to wait 8 years, and
and like it's great to see with Metallica, like they are still fans of this kind of music. Like they did these like 30 years of Metallica gigs for this fan club, and they were like many of these people. I think there was like Merciful Fate and Dave Mustaine was there and people like that. It was like a great, like they bring in like their own influences, and because they love that kind of music, it's great to still see with Metallica.
And I think Metallica is just innovative in what they do because I mean, if you think during the pandemic, nobody was doing music. You couldn't go anywhere. You couldn't see anybody live or whatever. So there's like, what do? Well, they go out and say, okay, how many drive-in theaters do we have nationwide? Because that way you don't have to go into anywhere. You can sit in your car. Yeah. You can watch it on the big screen, and it's like you're at a concert, kind of.
Yeah.
So they did that, and it made money because there's no concerts you could go to. So why not go to a drive-through theater and watch it on a big screen? Like,
yep.
And it was kind of innovative at the time because everybody was trying to figure out a way to do things, and they kind of said, hey, this is what we're going to do. And they did it and they made money. So, during a time where musicians weren't making any money. So they're just, like I said, that's why they're an innovative band. So,
yeah.
So it's pretty good.
All right. So Ari, bringing it back to the EP, you were talking about having, to do, being a small band, you're talking about having to do everything professionally yourself. So, talking about the EP itself, I mean, how did it get recorded? I mean, I can see some musical instruments back there behind you, but I mean, where did you do all the recording and the production and everything?
So basically, right here in this room, this is like my studio room.
Okay.
Nowadays, like the technology is really, really great, so you can adapt any kind of room to be a studio room, basically. So basically, everything is done here. Vocals Igor did on his own, I think in Helsinki where he lives, and he recorded his own studio room, which is basically like a room I have here. So basically everything like a small budget thing at home. I've learned myself mixing and mastering all these years. I started like 2014, I think. So it's been a long process, and I think like maybe in this 2 years, 3 years, last 2 years, I've done some kind of mixes that I'm finally really comfortable with. I think they are working basically.
finally starting to nail it down.
Yeah. It's been a long process, and it's been like little buying a little studio stuff here and there. Like I have a microphone here, and I've been upgrading it as the time goes on. Everything, my computer upgrading as the time goes on. So right now I have the equipment to do like what sounds to me professional music.
So how many programs did you go through before you got into the one that you're using now? Did you go through a lot of like programs that kind of you're like, it's good, but it's not as great as it could be? Or
Basically, I started with, I don't know, is Cubase familiar to you? I started with Cubase and pretty much stayed with them and upgraded. And it's been a long journey because I started when I was my early 20s, when I didn't have that much money. And now that when I've worked, I get like in last 5 years I worked, I have able to have some money on the side to purchase like newer programs. And I think one thing that's really underestimated in music general is mastering. I found it the hard way that really for a long time I didn't really get what mastering is, and now when I learned it and I got the program to do like professional type of mastering, I really get it. Like that's the final thing. That's the missing part. That's what makes a great mix sound like huge when you listen like something like Judas Priest album nowadays. Andy Sneap is like great mixer, but the mastering really takes the mix and make it alive.
Okay. That makes sense. So I know I've like in the past I'd had like laptops that came with some kind of musical downloadable content where you could just go on there and make your own like songs and stuff like that. But it was pretty basic. It wasn't it wasn't a in-depth thing like you're talking about there where you got to mess with the EQs and recordings and all that stuff. So, yeah, I actually tried that one time. I was like, "Good God, how the hell you figure this stuff?" so more power to you, man. Like that's a
it
difficult
took
process.
many hours to really get to understand all the stuff. I basically started with the free programs, like free program drums and everything, and you have to start somewhere. It sounds like shit, but you get the ideas running. That's the basic the idea, and step by step you learned everything. Like you said, EQ and everything, saturation, compression, everything. Step by step you learned, and thank God we have YouTube where you can find this information for free. Like don't go to the expensive schools and expensive programs. First look YouTube. Maybe you find great free content there where you learn stuff.
Yeah, I don't know how many like car repairs and appliance repairs I've found, like you say, just on YouTube. I don't know how much labor cost I've saved just learning how to change this, that, and replace this, that, and the other thing just on YouTube. So I mean, it has come in handy. It absolutely has.
Yeah. First thing, like you mentioned the car thing, and for example, the house. First thing you check on Google or YouTube how to repair something, or what do I need to do with this. And when you find YouTube video which shows you step by step, it's like, thank God, now I can do it on my own and save a big buck with that.
Thanks to YouTube, I know how to completely fix a Samsung washer and dryer now. Taking it apart, taking the drum out, changing bearings, changing belts, changing the little suspension rods. I mean, I know how to do all of that shit now thanks to YouTube. So thank God. It has come in handy. All right, so you said that you've already got the second EP written,
Yeah.
and the third one is in progress. Now, obviously, you being like, you know, the sole proprietor and operator of the group, that makes it easy. You can write as much as you want, as fast as you want, and then being able to record it at home obviously helps. But and we've been asking this of groups just because of because of the way that music has been progressing over the last, you know, decade and a half or so. Has the decision to do was the decision to do an EP, and of course now this second and the third one, was that a cognizant thing just because of the speed you were able to get those out?
Uh, yeah, basically. The first thing was like I didn't know if I could get a whole album written. So I started little baby steps, but then I found like creative juices started to flow when I wrote the first EP. And when I found out, I decided like first I tried to write an EP, and that was it. And after I wrote the first EP, I found like I have a second song idea, I have third song idea, and like the first and the second EP are written basically like at the same time. So when I wrote the first one, I was already thinking about the second EP, and I've always been a fan of trilogies. So it was
Okay, there you go.
it was like a natural for me to think about the third. So I have a theme for the third EP already, and I have a one song and an intro song for it already.
Okay.
And the second EP is pretty much like it's gonna be the same kind of pure heavy metal type of stuff. Great hooks, great choruses, and maybe first time I've written a heavy metal ballad. Basically,
Okay.
Oh, okay.
I'm not a
Okay.
big fan of heavy metal ballads, but this was like I started to write a song which is called "Never Loved You," which is basically Scorpion's song "Still Loving
Mm.
You."
Oh,
I
oh
Yeah.
yeah.
just turned it other side, like "Never
Ah,
Loved
Oh,
You,"
the other
and
side of the
I
coin. Okay, yeah.
yeah, and so that song idea became that pretty easily. I tend to write different styles. Maybe I sometimes I start with a riff, and the song naturally progresses there. Usually I start with the chorus because that to me is the most important thing, the chorus. But sometimes it's like on the case of loved you, I got like this lyrical theme I want to play around, and it's from like that little three words never loved you. I already have imagined the song, and it was written like in 15 minutes, 20 minutes. I basically
Wow.
write the song on my head before I even touch the instrument on that way. And I have the
That must be
themes.
nice.
Yes,
Must be
that's
nice.
it's really a blessing and a curse because I tend to be at work. I got something I hear kids say something like that captivates my mind, and I'm starting to sing a song, or maybe I'm playing something on the lesson, and I'm like, hold on kids, I have to play this through and really memorize it so I can write it later. So it's basically a curse on that like I can't turn it off. I may wake up in middle of the night, have a song idea,
Oh
I
yeah.
have a full song, so I take the phone and write it down, write the lyrics, and then go back to bed or something like that. So
Yeah,
And,
and then you have to run the risk of upsetting your wife at 3 a.m. Why
yeah,
is your phone on? What are you
yeah,
doing?
yeah, yeah.
in that case that you're speaking of is kind of cool that you're always going to have inspiration because you're always going to have different kids in your
Yeah,
classroom.
yeah,
So it's kind of cool that you have that always on hand.
Yeah.
That's something a lot of people aren't going to have. So
yeah. And what I love with heavy metal music, like I know Ronnie James Dio wrote songs, they are like fantasy based songs, dragons and stuff, but they have they are based on reality. So pretty much my songs are too based on reality. Like the song "Reality Machine" is really, it was first about uh, this life we live, a reality machine.
Mhm.
We tend to live in a fog with our phones, looking our phones, and never realizing what is going on
Yep.
in this real world. So it was like the phone is the reality machine. So
Yeah.
I like the heavy metal lyrics that you can mask it or hide the real meaning to you. Like on the next EP, I have a real song that is going to talk about really sensitive subject that have happened in my real life, but I've hidden it real well, so you can never know it what the song is really about.
Oh, okay. All right.
So it's kind of one of the open-ended songs where the listener's just going to have to kind of make up a meaning on their own, which is cool. I love that, honestly.
I do too.
Listen to a lot of songs that I thought, oh man, this is I can imagine the song in my head playing out like in my own way, and then find out that the writer had a whole different meaning to it. It's just crazy that because I feel like that's what music does to you individually, is it touches you in a way, and you kind of create your own image of what you're hearing. And I think that's pretty cool with music in general, not just with metal. I mean, it's any music, because it's kind of left up to your imagination at sometimes. So and I love that, because my imagination is wild anyway. So
right.
Yeah.
There's definitely. I mean, there's definitely nothing wrong with, like, you talking about the ballad you have coming up.
Mhm.
There's nothing wrong with putting it out there exactly what a song is about. But yeah, when you can kind of be like, all right, I wonder what they were going for here, and then you're like, maybe it was this. Because we've talked to a lot of artists before, and they're like, you know what? If that's what you got from it, then that's what the song is about, because that's what it means to you. And so whether, like Jason said, whether it's an open-ended up to interpretation, or they're just like, hey, this is about this. I mean, you can't really go wrong. And I think it's kind of ironic that you brought up the ballad, because to me, what I liked about the title track is it actually it did a little bit of this. 7.5 minutes, had some highs, had some lows, so you kind of experimented a little bit with that. I mean, it's not a full-fledged ballad, it's not completely thrashy and up tempo like Wrong Messiah. So I mean, you saved the title track for the end, and you got that little bit of a little bit of a mix in there. So now, like you said, moving forward, you're going to go full-fledged ballad. So it's an evolution. So
yeah.
Well, I think ballads are great with metal, if they're done correctly. You know what I mean? Like, you don't want to become that band like Def Leppard that were like in the early
like
80s.
All ballads.
Well, they're all ballads. It's kind of like, wow, dude, what happened?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it has a place for sure. So
absolutely.
Yeah. It's a great ballad is really hard to write, because I really hate if the lyrics are really sappy and really sugary, and I don't really like that. I try to for a reason I wrote it like Never Loved You, because I think like Alice Cooper had like a Hey Stupid record where there was like the ballads were like on the negative side, and like that might as well be a Mars type of stuff. I tend to gravitate those type of songs, which is like you're not expecting that for a ballad type of lyrics. And for the progression you mentioned, on the next album, I try to bit more experiment with the more epic, like you mentioned, the reality machine have ups and highs and lows and everything. On the next EP, we're going to have some similar type of song, but more epic and more epic lyrics, maybe.
Yeah.
And again, the lyrical theme is pretty much maxed under story of Tyriel. I don't know if you're familiar about William Blake's literature, but Tyriel is a character there.
Okay.
So I used that story, but masked it so that I tell a story about my own experiences through that.
Okay.
Oh, okay. All right, nice. I think it's hilarious that you brought up the Hey Stupid Alice Cooper album and the ballads on there, because I always thought the song Baby I'm Burning Our Bed was hilarious, talking about just,
Yeah,
all right, we've broken up, I'm setting all your shit on fire.
yeah.
But it's a ballad, and it's just like, all right, fine, you left, it's all going up in flames. So
Yeah.
it's hilarious that you brought up that specific Alice Cooper album, because it's a perfect example of exactly what you're talking about. But it just, as soon as you mentioned Alice, as soon as you mentioned that album, before you even brought up Might As Well Be on Mars, my head, for me, immediately went right to Baby I'm Burning Our Bed. You know, one thing I've got to do is toss those sheets and pillows too. Baby, I'm burning our bed. I mean, fucking love
What's so
Great
what's
lyrics.
so
Great
what's so
lyrics.
yeah what's so crazy about Alice writing stuff like that is he's been married to the same woman for over 40 years.
I know.
So it's kind of like, where are you getting these experiences from, dude? Like,
Well, and then he wrote the song Poison too. So I mean, you know,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
But with Alice, I'm a huge Alice Cooper fan. I
yeah.
have a pleasure to meet him once at some festival gig in Oulu here in Finland. But like, I'm a huge Alice Cooper fan. That Alice Cooper has many these type of songs. Like, you think, okay, this is a ballad and it's about this love thing, but when you really dig those lyrics and read them, that's not really what is it about. Like, Hey Stupid album is full of those kind of songs.
yes, it is.
Also, the Trash album with Poison on it. There's like this maniacs in love with you. It's like about this crazy psycho, and so
Yeah. For every feed my Frankenstein, there's a Baby I'm Burning Our Bed.
yeah.
So I got a couple of more topics for you, Ari, if
Yeah.
you got time.
Yeah.
The one thing I want to ask you is kind of a controversial thing in music right now, but I just kind of wanted to get your feedback since you kind of play off of the computer side of all of it. What is your take on the AI?
I think it's pretty horrible, pretty horrific, actually, because we are taking it. It has its advantages. I'm not saying that, but for like there are many artists nowadays that are completely AI, which is taking something that I do. Like, I put my heart and soul on this stuff. I think it makes a bit fun of it. Like, it's like it's something you just compose, you just digest, and it doesn't matter what it is. I think AI is just we could use it for good in music, but right now I don't think we are.
Yeah, I think there's going to have to eventually be some kind of barriers placed for that. Where I know a lot of at least two record labels that I know of have already banned AI from being on their labels. So
Yeah,
so they were just like, hey, if we catch you using AI, you're out. So which I think is good in a way. I think you could use AI in a way to promote. I think that wouldn't be a bad idea, maybe, but not to make music. I think that's just kind of it's going to wind up making it. I think more generic, if that makes sense.
yeah.
I don't think there's going to be anything that sticks out and makes it.
It doesn't.
It's not going to make anything unique because I don't think it's. I think the person that plays something has a feeling when they do that.
There's
and
no
you're not,
heart
and
to
you're not going to feel that as a fan. I don't think you're going to play something AI and I feel something like I do with somebody playing, say Machine Head playing something, live. It's kind of like you feel it. You know what I mean? It's like, and then like you can make all this music as an AI generated thing, but then you got to wind up figuring out how to take that on the road with you too. Which is going to be that much more costly because at some point I mean, if anybody grew up in the late 80s, early 90s, kind of know the Milli Vanilli story. So
Yeah.
at some point it will bite your ass. So I mean, you may get away with it for a while, but at some point it's going to bite you, and you know, your mic's going to cut off, and then you're really going to be singing and sound like, you know, Froggy from the Little Rascals or something. But but yeah, I wanted your take on it, because I know I don't want anybody to get confused with what AI does and what you do, because what you do actually still takes talent, because like I said, you're messing with EQs and shit like that. I've done this.
It's a tool. That's a thing.
Exactly.
He's using a tool.
Right. He's not creating something out of thin air and
passing it off as a 5-piece band.
Exactly. He's actually putting each note together, and you know, each beat together, and it's a lot of. I don't want nobody to confuse it, mainly because you put a lot of time and effort in what you do, and you know,
and that's the thing, is like Ari actually, whether it's a computer generated drum beat or not, he still composed it.
Exactly.
And it's still something that like Ari, if you want to, at some point, if you wanted to be like, all right, I'm going to play the guitar, I'm going to hire a bassist, I'm going to hire a drummer, I'm going to hire a singer, and the reality machine is going to turn into a 3-piece, 4-piece, 5-piece, whatever. I'm composing this, and this is what it's going to be.
Yeah.
Here's your drum beat. Go play it.
Yeah.
So you're composing something. You're creating something that can be played by a human going forward. Mm-hmm. It's still an original, you know, Ari Kotipelto, you know, production. It's still an original piece of. It's still an original Ari work. So so it's completely different. It's completely different.
Like you said, it's like for me, it's a tool basically. I'm not using AI on my songs. I write the songs. For me, it's just like using the MIDI drums or the computer drums. It's just that I could write faster and make these songs faster, that I have in my head, that I want people to hear it, and I want myself to hear it as I hear it in my head. So it's for that it's good. But like you said, AI music, one thing that it's missing, it's the human element, and I try to keep the human element on my stuff always. Like, if my guitar or bass track isn't perfect, that's fine for me. It has that one little thing or two little things, or maybe something that is not perfect, but it sounds human. It still sounds great. And for drums, I always tend to, even when I program it, I never want to do it like it would be perfect on time. I want a little bit of like a bit earlier hit, or hit a bit late, or something like that, to get that human element, human feeling to the song, basically.
So I know when I was doing this, it was kind of like a straight line beat. You know what I'm saying? It was just like, if you're playing drums, it was like, and then you had to pick it up or down to push it up or down to make it sound different. So you're over there going, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're doing that. It's not doing it itself. So I mean, you're putting in the work to make it sound the way you want it. And then you add, you could add your double basses and add this, the cymbals, and add everything in at certain points, and like that takes. And I'll be honest with you, I've done a lot of things in my life, but I think that was like probably. I think I've cussed more trying to do that than I ever have worked on a car. So, I'm just like, can you just fucking right? God damn.
When I started doing music, that was one of the frustrating things, that you have this song, you have this idea in your head that you want to write, but you can't get it right on the computer or something like that. So that's one thing you have to learn to cope with. I still get frustrated. As of today, I actually wrote some song. I got frustrated real hard because I'm trying to get the drums right, and it still lacks something, and you can't pin what it is missing still.
Mhm.
So it's just coping with the frustration, basically.
waiting for that eureka moment.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I think that's like the difference. What you just said is the difference between what you do and being in a band, because a band will write a guitar lick or whatever and sit on it for like 3 years, you know what I mean? And then be like, hey, you remember that guitar lick I wrote? I think that'll work here, you know? And you're kind of like, you want this thing now because you have that, because you have the sound in your head. You know what what you want it to sound like right now. If you wait 3 years, and you may be a whole different sound, because trying to capture it as you as you're thinking it is really
basically that's it basically, because I really love to play in a room with the band. I really love it, but when it comes to songwriting, I want it fast. I have it in my head. I know how to do it. I want it real fast. I've been sitting around like the song on the first EP, Next in Line. I had that riff like, I don't know, 4 years. I've been sitting on it. I couldn't get it on the Magneta Plaza song. I always thought that it's a great riff, but it doesn't suit for that project. So that was like a big bang for this project, basically. That riff. But for me, basically, it's like, if I had to sit around and wait and jam one riff, sometimes it's great, but for me it's like, okay, yes, we got the riff. Now can we write more? Can we get to the chorus? And I always like, my mind is going like real fast with the songwriting. So basically, my songs are written like in 15 minutes in my head. I have it constructed. Maybe like it's changing when I'm recording it like a little bit here and there, but the basic idea is always written in my head pretty quickly. So for me, it's natural for me to write it like that.
So kind of bringing it back a little bit. So I think in my situation, because I have written lyrics off and on throughout my whole life. So lyrically, I have enough stuff to probably make 15 or 16 albums written somewhere in a box. It's probably in this room somewhere. But anyway, I think that's where kind of AI would help me as far as just wanting to hear my stuff. Like, I'm not trying to go out and perform any of this shit, so it really doesn't matter to me. I just kind of know what I want, it kind of similar to what I want to sound like. So I think if I did that, put my lyrics in and then have AI generate me something similar to what I'm looking for, then my music or my writings are concreted somewhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So right now, like, not being in a band, not really having that kind of I guess relationship with any bands is kind of like it's just going to be there, like it's never going to go anywhere. So I think that may be something AI would be good for, as far as somebody like me that's not a musician, you know what I mean, and not trying to be more or less, I guess, more or less for it to be a just a project that you just want to do, you know what I mean? It's not something that you're out trying to make a living off of. I think that's okay. I think that's okay. Don't get me wrong. But when you're out trying to make a living and trying to I guess it kind of makes me, I guess it's kind of like, to me, it's kind of a lazy thing. If you're a musician and you can play, you know what I mean? Why would you use AI? I don't. That's got to be just because you're lazy. You don't want to put in the work. And I think that's kind of where I see it as if I see somebody out, I use AI. Okay, well, then why would I come and see you if you're not going to put forth an effort to make your own music? So why would I go see that live? It's like that's just
and how would you?
That's my opinion.
Like you said, for that kind of stuff, it's okay. And I get the I've tried Chat GPT or something like that. I've tried what kind of lyrics it will give me, but I tend to it doesn't gravitate with me, because I tend to write my personal stuff on the song, so AI couldn't understand what I'm going through. But I will say, you can use it as a tool, as for lyrics. Myself, that's the hardest part. The lyrics are for me the hardest part. So I need some starting point. Like, okay, what is the first words to the first verse? And if I get some idea, like on the next EP I have, probably going to be the first single of that EP. I had it written, the whole song, and then I read the lyrics, and like, this is not working. And I search like something that gravitates me, some words. So I found like the Judas Priest song Demonizer. I think it starts like a Born on the Sun or something like that. I used that, like, okay, this lyric inspires me, and I wrote whole new lyrics to that song based off that.
Wow.
So basically like that, if you use chat GPT or something like AI for that to get you started to write lyrics, I think that is okay. It's like you get inspired to do something.
Right. Sure. Yeah. Yeah. I
Well,
mean, you're not using it. You're not you using it as a tool and using it as a crutch are two completely different
right.
things.
Yeah.
Well, Ari, I will say this: if you ever get stuck on lyrically, just hit me up, man. I'll be glad to help you out.
Let's make it happen.
Yeah. You got to give me credit. I don't care. I just, like I said, like, I'll get like you say, you'll get something into your mind, and you're like, oh, this, and you just start flowing. Like, poetry is kind of where I kind of feed from. So poetically, I'll start thinking of stuff, and I'll be like, oh, that could be a song. So I'll start, and I got stuff. I ain't even gonna lie, I probably got stuff wrote down here and there and everywhere in tablets where I'll just like come up with this idea and just write about, a couple of sets of lyrics, and then be like, I was like, it's kind of, I'm kind of stuck now, so I just leave it at that and go back to it at some other point maybe. But I actually have a song. I actually have some lyrics I wrote, and it was I went back to it, was looking through some stuff, and I've seen it, and it was written in 15. And this was like 21 or something. It was during COVID. I was out during COVID, and I was looking through it, and it's like 21. So I finished it. So it was like 6 years, 6 years later. Because I write stuff down and forget it a lot of times. So forget it's there, and I'm flipping through a notebook or something like, hey, what's this? I was like, oh, that sounds cool. I must have been thinking about something when I was writing that. So
and it's basically like that. Like, sometimes it's like it speaks to you again later. Right. It speaks to you a different way. It inspires to write again. You can take the analogy for like older bands playing older songs. Sometimes, like, Iron Maiden doesn't want to play some songs. They want to play the new album full. And maybe later they revisited the Flight of Icarus song. And maybe it's like same type of stuff. Like, later on life, it inspires you again to do something or write something again.
Yeah, plus the way the world changes too, it may take on a new whole meaning and concept by the time you go back and read it over.
Yes.
So, but anyway, so we kind of got that out of the way. I was kind of curious about what you thought about AI, since you kind of use your computer to do a lot of your stuff, musically. So, so just so everybody knows, everybody hates AI. So,
one way or another.
Right.
Yeah.
So, hopefully, like I said, hopefully they come out with some kind of barrier where they can only do that in certain instances and stuff. I know whenever the acting SAG-AFTRA and all that just had their last strike, that was kind of in their strike and negotiations was none of their actors can be used as voices or anything AI related. So if you do that, you could be sued. So hopefully they'll come out with something similar for music. Because So next thing I wanted to talk about that we haven't really got to yet, I'm surprised we hadn't, but was the album cover. Share the screen here, so you can see the album cover there. So who was responsible for the art here? So
the artist is Klaus Erik Strandberg, who's actually also a teacher. He's
Okay.
he's my colleague, who is a great artist. I actually just we started working together last year, 2023, and I always like we had these meetings where all the teachers are talking about teacher stuff, what have you, and I always seen like it. He always draw something, and it was like fabulous. And I asked him. He's a big metalhead. He listens to all kinds of metal, like stuff like I have even never even heard of, that kind of stuff. So it's always like some genre, and I'm like, is that really a genre of music? But yeah,
we ask that sometimes too.
yeah. So basically, Klaus Erik did that. I had the concept for it, what I wanted there. So basically, on the cover, there's all the 5 songs. There's the All Seeing Eye, the Reality Machine, Rainmaker, Wrong Messiah, and Next in Line.
Oh, gotcha.
Everything on
Okay.
there, but
That's
but there was
awesome. So awesome.
I really love it. I really love it. And
It makes sense now that I never really seen that until you just brought it up. Now I see everything in the artwork. I'm like, okay, yeah, I see that. I see that. Okay.
But basically, it was the idea. I wanted all the song titles, all the songs on the cover. But basically, I said to Klaus Erik that you can do what you want, but this I want something like this, and he did an amazing job. And this picture is I think it's painted originally. So it's there is a painting that is much bigger than this picture out there somewhere. I think Klaus Erik has it somewhere.
Okay.
And I for the next EP, Klaus Erik is actually doing the artwork there also.
And I was actually going to ask that next. So yeah.
Yeah, and I don't think Klaus Erik has done any other jobs for artwork. So if you want, please contact him. He's really good, and I think he loves this kind of music. So he will do it.
Yeah,
I think he will do it, and he will do a great job.
Okay, so so I'm probably going to email you about November or December, because that's when I usually put together my next year's T-shirts. So I may reach out to you and see what he comes up with. So
yeah,
I mean I'll gladly pay him for his time too. So it ain't no big deal. So.
And
he will do a exceptionally great work. So he's really easy to work with, and great guy.
And he did do a great job, because I mean it's also because you wanted to musically go back to the classic like pure heavy metal, and this is a classic throwback Maiden Dio type album cover. And it's actually a good thing that you did an EP, because if you did 10 tracks and tried to get 10 tracks on this album cover, you would have
yeah, that's true.
So it's a good thing you kept it to 5.
Yeah, it would be a Wrong Messiah 2 and Wrong Messiah 3. So there would be 3 Messiahs or something like that. Yeah,
and we've kind of like went a different route every time that we did our yearly shirts, because I'll do like the world tour type shirt, which is just kind of a tribute to metal, you know what I mean? So it's kind of like like Chris has got it there from 22, so it's got all the bands' hometowns that we talked to. So it's kind of like that was our world tour. Was talking to the bands from around the world. So.
We had the world come to us is basically
exactly
what we went with.
So and I have the design for last year's. I just haven't pressed them yet. So I had those made by somebody local, and then they kind of like went ridiculous with pricing. So I decided, well, hell, if I'm going to pay that much, I might as well just buy my own printer and heat press machine and do it myself, because I'm not trying to, I'm not trying to make 100 T-shirts. So I mean, it's not like it's going to be that big of a deal to go out and press a few shirts here and there. So actually waiting to. I've gotten some stuff in my cart comparing right now, so I'm waiting to try to figure it all out to get that done because I actually love to get that done soon.
Because
we're trying to coincide that with our new website because we just got a new website being built. So I'm trying to coincide everything to where it kind of all comes out at once. So.
Because we actually have a couple of outstanding shirt orders.
From we
a
do,
couple of people. So yeah, I mean, to be able to and to be able to have again, like the whole reason why we're doing what we do, it's just more of our content to have complete control over.
Right. Yeah.
And then our logo up there in the corner right here is pretty much that was a kind of graphic design done, so it wasn't really a drawing. And then the newer shirts was AI. I will say that it was an AI generated front shirt. So so I would love to have an actual artist do the next one. That would be pretty awesome.
That would be badass.
Yeah. So I definitely may reach out to you later in the year when we get ready to do that. So
I hope Klaus Erik will do it, but I don't know if hope he has the time for it.
Like I said, it would be. We're not in a hurry for it. So I mean, because at that point we'll probably still have, or maybe hopefully a couple of interviews still lined up before Christmas time. So kind of give you that. So speaking of that, do you ever have downtime? I don't know how the school system works there. Do you have downtime in the summer, or do you kind of just go year round?
Yeah, basically I'm on my holiday right now. In Finland, we have like in schools we have 2.5 months.
Okay, so similar to what
holiday.
We do. Okay.
So full summer holiday. So basically, this is a free time for me to work on my music.
Yeah.
Basically, like 2.5 months, it's like a luxury, but but it could. The pay is not that great when you think about it, but the long holidays, it's nice. I have to say.
Well, I have to say, man, you definitely have your hands full with doing your music and a baby, and trying to teaching, and so you definitely have to have your time kind of scheduled out pretty well. Like on point, or you're kind of missing out. But so I know if I get stuck in this room for 8 hours a day, my wife would probably be beating on the door, going, "Hey, are you ever coming out of there or what?"
No, you wouldn't have a door left.
Well, probably not. Yeah. So,
now that my son is born and here, so there's not that much time to work with music than I used to have, but I still tend to have it like here and there, and my wife is supporting me all the way, so that's awesome. Great. So
that helps.
It's really awesome. So thanks to my wife, I'm able to do this music stuff also.
Well, we thank her too, because we love to listen to it. So can't wait to hear the. So are you trying to plan on the release for the second one this year too, or are you going to try to push it into next year? Oh, you are? Okay, cool.
Yeah, I so basically, because the music is already written and also recorded, some here and there I need to some solo here, some bass there. I need to re-record or rework, but basically it's already written. I'm looking for a singer to do it, and when I find it, I just send him, and I talk with Klaus Erik about the artwork, and he's working it right now, and tentatively it's coming out maybe in November, I think. I try to and third EP, when I get the second EP done, third EP, I think it's coming out next year. So I had the trilogy, and then I think I'll write an album. I've always loved concept albums. I've written concept albums before, and actually the Magneta Plaza album that we are working, like it's on hiatus, but we are working. It's going to be a concept album. So I'm sucker for concept albums. So maybe I go some like that route if I find some theme that I could write a Reality Machine concept album.
Okay.
Maybe, but
Cool.
that's the plan basically.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing of like you're it can't doubt the passion you have for what you're doing. That's for damn sure.
Not.
So and like I said, man, you're putting in the effort and the time and stuff, and we as fans appreciate it. So don't think that goes unnoticed.
Thank you.
So,
It's always great to hear that somebody is listening. It also validates the stuff I'm doing. I'm doing these songs and this music for myself because I need to get it out. But it's always great to hear that somebody listens and wants to listen and support this kind of music.
and
So thank you for that.
Now I just want to say too, I love the shirt that you're wearing because like me and Chris talk about this a lot. Is like when we go to shows, it's hard to find something that's not black. So it's a pleasant. I can't buy anything white because I would ruin it. So
me too.
And then I would be pissed off because I just got ketchup all over a brand new white shirt.
Yeah.
So
I may have some baby puke somewhere here. So, but basically, all the white band shirts for me are like holiday shirts or something like that because I always wear black also because white shirts they tend to get this like a yellow color or
yes they do.
Yeah.
Yes, they do.
So,
but at least with you, at some point, somebody can walk up to you. Man, I got that exact same shirt. I don't remember it being tie dyed, but
yeah.
But yeah, I've got a couple of red ones and a couple of gray ones, but I haven't seen a lot of different colors that kind of stand out. There was one show that was a yellow one, but they didn't have my size. I was going to get the yellow, and I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. And then they didn't have my size, so I've kind of been stuck with black, unfortunately. But But I do like seeing different color shirts at the concert venues now. So I know they had a Lamb of God shirt the last show I went there. Theirs it was white, and I was like, man, that's so badass. But I would ruin that fucking shirt. And it was like $45, and I was like, I'm not paying $45 to ruin it. That'd be the first thing I do is eat a chili dog or something. Gone.
Right, just right down the front.
Yeah, right down the front. You'd have it all wrapped up and protected, and it'd still get on it somewhere, somehow, some way. So,
and it would turn into your Lamb of God damn it shirt.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. Ari, is there any things you want to plug, your socials and where you can find the Reality Machine EP and stuff? Or?
Sure. On the social media, the main outlet is Instagram for now, but we have a Facebook page also, and Bandcamp you can buy, and actually that's the only place you can buy our T-shirts there.
Oh, nice.
Actually, there's two options. There's the whole album cover, and also there's the main figure. I've not named him just yet, but if you have a great name for him or her, I will listen and maybe name him or her after that. So
cool.
But there's basically Bandcamp is if you go there, you can find the T-shirts also, and also our YouTube. There's the full EP visualizer and the awesome lyric video for Rainmaker, the first single. Which was I found a guy from Fiverr to do it, and he did a great job for it.
Very nice.
Cool. Yeah, actually, that's where I had the album cover pulled up from was Bandcamp. So when I was sharing it earlier, so it's pretty cool. Is there ever going to be any hard copies of any of your stuff available at some point, or?
I hope so. That's my dream. So as you can see on the background, I have many CDs. I love CDs. And,
I do too.
And I love vinyl. But when you're doing it alone, it's a great financial risk to take to order like many copies. So maybe I have in mind when I've done all the 3 EPs. Maybe then I will release it as a one package.
Oh, that would be a great idea.
and
Yeah,
it would be
that
like
would be
a small print, like maybe 50, and so the fastest one gets
Yeah.
it there,
Right.
so
Yeah.
that I would get it myself on the
Yeah.
shelf there.
Yeah, but yeah, please let us know because I would definitely
Sure.
buy a hard copy from you. Like I know I've showed these off a few times, but I've gotten the latest Judas Priest album there, and so yeah, I always like to keep CDs. Like I got mad when we just bought a new car like last year, and that was one of the things that kind of ticked me off about it was there wasn't a CD player, and I'm just like, well, there are times where your Wi-Fi and stuff don't pick up when you're driving, so why would you not include a CD player? I don't get that. But.
Yep.
Yeah. One thing when I'm buying a car is, does it have a CD player? Because I love to listen on CD. I love to listen to full albums. Sometimes I
Right.
put on Spotify or Bandcamp or something and listen to a song here and there. But I'm a full album person. I like to support the bands I love, and I like to own physical copies and check
Same.
the pictures and everything. So for me, it's
we would be kind of hypocritical if we were doing what we do and not purchase stuff from the
absolutely.
band. The band actually made money, so
right. Hell yeah.
I mean that's kind of what we kind of do is to push you guys out there to make money. So we try to contribute as much as we can. So
yep,
and that's great that there are still people out there who are supporting and buying real physical albums. It's really great, and I could see actually. My pupils, some students I teach, they are really buying vinyls nowadays. Small kids, some small kids are still buying vinyls, so it's great that the vinyl is coming back, and they are supporting the bands they are love.
I probably would. Chris would probably agree with me. That's a lot of times we feel bad because I've reached out to a few bands that we've had on the show. I'm like, hey man, I'm gonna go in and buy that CD. Like if they're especially if they have them themselves, like, hey, will you mind autographing it for me? And when you send it over, and they say, oh man, we'll just send it to you. I'm like, nah, man, I don't mind buying it. I would just like you to autograph it for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they were just like, nah, it's good. So then like I know one band sent us like all their stuff autographed, and I'm like, oh shit, it's kind of cool. And then we've gotten like a Contortion sent us their whole catalog. It's like we thought we were going to get it. He's like, well, I'll send you some stuff, and I'm like, and we were like, okay. Or I think he said, I'll send you the new disc. Don't worry about it. I'm like, all right, cool. Well, then when we opened the mail, he actually sent me and Chris both copies of everything. I'm like, holy shit, dude!
Got this gigantic care package from Sweden. I was like, what is? I like got it at the house. Like, what is this? I open it up, and there's two brand new vinyls. There's like 8 CDs. There's stickers. There's coasters. I was like,
that's crazy, dude.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I was just like, it just like knocked me to the floor. Somebody would do that for us. It's like, it makes us feel good that we're doing, things for these bands and stuff. But when we get stuff like that, I mean, it feels good. Don't get me wrong. I won't turn away free stuff but I don't expect anybody to do that. I was just
no.
Kind of unreal. Just like, wow. And, like I said, we've kind of like partnered with some of the record labels, and they send us stuff, but it's just like I said, it's a shirt or stickers and stuff like that, which is it's fine. That's kind of what we don't mind. I think Chris has got the Ashes Ring shirt there that we got from Affiant Records and stuff like that. So it's cool that they're like I said, those guys are promoting their bands, man. That's cool to see, and we do our part in wearing it, and people ask us, hey, who is that? And then we can tell them, what I mean? So it's kind of cool that it creates a conversational piece. So whenever you do get that, let me know for sure, because I definitely would love to buy
and I will send everything signed, of course. It's like when you give to the community gives back.
Right.
That's right.
That's basically the idea.
Yeah. Well, my thought process was, I mean, you're already going to be packaging it, sending it to me anyway. So just do you mind signing it?
It's a small thing, but it means a lot.
Right. And then they say, and then they send you like 5 things signed. It's like, I didn't ask for all that, but thank you. I mean,
above and beyond. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Which which is crazy. But like I said, man, we try to do what we can to help everybody out. So, so we all got to, like, at this point, we've kind of said this a lot of times with other bands. We all have to push each other at this point. So, nobody knows about us without you guys sharing it on your socials. The same as a lot of people may not know about you guys until we turn them on to you. So we try to do what we can. So like I said, whether you get 10 new people from it, or 100, I mean, that's still new people listening to your music.
Exactly.
And
Even if it's just one person, it's just one more person to listen to you.
And then word of mouth is probably still the best thing going. It's like, somebody probably like, hey, did you hear that new Reality Machine? That's badass. I see it on here, or something. But so it's pretty cool. Cool.
Yeah.
Well, Ari, man, we thank you for your time and thanks for joining us. We look forward to the new stuff coming. So
yeah,
thank
you very much.
We're definitely gonna keep an eye out on the Reality Machine, and of course everybody else in the brand new wave of Finnish heavy metal alliance. We're gonna keep track of all you guys. So
we'll definitely share whatever you come out with. We'll definitely share it and pass it along on ours too. And then if something comes up and you got time, we'll do this again when the next one comes out or something. So.
Absolutely.
Sure.
Absolutely.
I could contact you when the trilogy is done. We could do a final assessment.
Yeah, it's a great idea.
There we go.
I like that.
But thank you very much for having me on this podcast. I really love what you're doing. First time I heard you through Never Fade, where you interviewed Never Fade. So this was when you asked me to come here, it was yeah. But yeah, of course.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the good thing is, a lot of times we don't know about. I mean, even our outlets that we follow to get the new music from. I mean, we may not get bands like you guys in the list.
Yes.
So I mean, if you didn't share that with us, we may never heard of you.
We may not have. So yeah.
And then we would have missed out on some great music. So
yeah. So if anyone out there who's watching or listening or whatever, you got something coming out, email it to us. Metalheads Unite USA.
Send to these guys here.
Yeah. Send it to us. Absolutely.
We've listened to a lot of stuff, and like I said, we've reached out to a lot of bands from reaching out to us. So some took us up on it, some haven't. So it's kind of
absolutely. I mean, we do the best we can, the two of us, to find as much stuff as we can, but we can't be everywhere all the time. So, bands like Ari, like you and Lassie and Never Fade and the guys in Barrel sending us stuff. I mean, it's awesome. I like it. So-and-so, such and such, wants you to look at their, check out their new single, and here's a new EP. I'm like, oh, awesome. Yeah. So it's happened about probably half dozen times now that bands have reached out to us.
And we built relationships where people send us their demos and be like, hey, what do you think about this? And we some of the bands that we've kind of built relationships with, they send out new demos and like, hey man, this is new coming out. What do you think? And we'll oh man, this is badass. Or, And like I said, it's not even mastered. Where they're sending us to, they're sending something that's like, wow, this ain't even mastered. Like, what the hell? But it's cool that they kind of value our opinion like that. So.
Yeah.
All right, man. We appreciate it, man. Keep doing what you're doing, and
thank you.
Bringing up the youth and into the music world, man. That's pretty awesome. And keep doing what you're doing. Hopefully, we'll hear from you soon, man.
Yes, here for you.
All right. Thank you, sir. We appreciate you. All right.
Thank you.
Have a great weekend.
You too, guys.
All right.
Bye.
Wait. That was Ari Kotipilto from the Reality Machine.
Yeah. Awesome dude, man.
Man.
Man. Where's he find time to do stuff? We talk about a lot of people finding time to do stuff, but this guy is he's musically involved everywhere.
Everywhere.
Like,
Oh God,
yeah.
he's I mean, we talk about having like irons in the fire. I mean, this guy, he's
Kind of takes the cake, man. Like,
no, no, we can't hold a candle to having that much stuff going on at the same time. There's no way in hell. So,
and like I said, we need to be more appreciative of people like Ari, man. With especially with bringing the youth up in the music and whatever the case may be. They may not ever do anything musically, or they may just do it to as a release. You know what I mean? Or whatever they do, with the music is going to be awesome because like I said, some of those people he's teaching we may hear from 10 years from now in bands.
Right.
I mean, you don't know.
Right.
Now
and then we may not, but then again,
right.
Music may be just like a thing that just becomes personal to them, and it helps them cope, and that's okay too. That's fine too, because they'll be like, these kids be like, man, Mr. Cotipelto taught me this when I was 12, and I've always remembered it. So I mean, could be lifelong lessons, whether or not these kids ever get up on stage, record, write anything or not. You never know.
It's just awesome. Like I like I said, we didn't know this about Ari until we talked to him, so we didn't know what he did on his 9 to 5. So so it's kind of cool that to find a lot. Like I said, this is one of the things we love about this is we kind of learn about a lot of things personally from these people through the bands that we talk to. So
so I mean, cool. Talking about the specific album or EP or whatever is great. Knowing all the ins and outs, the inspiration behind it, and all that stuff. But getting to know these guys and girls. We've had girls on the show too, but getting to know these folks on a personal level, and then them getting to know us. I mean, we share stuff about us. They share stuff about them. He said it. And so did the guys in Bleed from Within, or Bleed the Victim. Sorry, last week talking about the community, and that's all it is. We're doing our best to expand our heavy metal community that we've created here at the Metalheads Unite podcast, and just trying to expand the heavy metal community in general. But I mean, we've kind of got our own community. And now we consider Ari a part of it. We consider the guys in Bleed the Victim a part of it. Lassie, everybody. We follow them.
Everybody we talk to. Like I still follow people from the first year that were on the show.
John.
Sepsis and John from one of the last, and
Tina
from House of Living.
Tina and Stellan, and
so
all those guys, all of them.
Yeah. So. Actually, thinking of that, we'll let you guys know that the end of this year, we're not only going to have a best of, I'm also going to have a recap of the last 3 years guest playlist. I'm going to make a playlist.
That's going to be great.
Yeah, so I thought about this the other day, and I said, man, what can we do different? So you know what? I'm going to make a playlist of the guests that have been on the show since we started this. So
that's going to be a lot of music.
Yeah.
In a badass way, but that's going to be a lot of music.
Yeah, so
nice.
So that's going to be some pretty cool stuff. Keep me busy during the holidays, I guess. So, all right, gang. If you haven't seen already, the stream for the radio station is there at the bottom. stream.trulyradio247.com/8008/stream. You can catch the 24/7 radio station there, and I did upload like 3 different playlists to it the other day. So I've almost got 2024 all in there. So
I'm going to be doing some more today.
It's kind of hard when I make a playlist every week on top of trying to go back and do the older stuff, but I'm almost at the best of 2023 playlists. So
nice.
So we're getting there. We're getting everything getting back up there, man. I didn't realize how much music we had on there until I started doing this again. Like, Jesus Christ, we have so much music on there, and
we lost a lot.
In a fire. So hopefully,
we'll
get back. We'll get it all back up there soon. But it's still like some amazing stuff already on there. So I think it's pretty much enough on there where it's in a loop. You don't have to worry about listening to the same thing twice hardly. So
right, yeah. Yeah. We're definitely nothing like a mainstream radio station where
Well,
you're
no,
going to hear the same song once per hour. That will not happen with our radio station. It absolutely will not. But I mean, if there is something that you guys want to hear, if you think we haven't added it yet, because of course we don't have every song on there. I mean, we never will get to that point.
right.
But if there's any requests you guys want to make, send them to us on our socials or send them to metalheadsuniteusa@gmail.com. And follow us on all the social media. Follow us on X, on Instagram, on TikTok, our Facebook group. That's private. The Facebook page is public. Come on over and follow us on Twitch, on Rumble, and the YouTube channel. Follow us on Spotify for all those playlists.
Yep, we had a little snag in the web developing side of the web page this week, but I think we got that taken care of. So hopefully that'll be back on track. So, definitely looking forward to getting that up and running. So
yeah, a little bit of a bump in the road, but we're getting
all good. So. All right. Well, I guess we will wrap this one up. So next week we'll be back to our normally scheduled program, as it seems so far. Which it's kind of good because the following week we will be off for July 4th week.
Yeah, 4th of July. Yep.
So, we're both going to be out of town, so we decided we'll just take the day off. And then when we come back the following week, we got another guest. So
yes, we do.
So it's right back to business.
Yep. So as of right now, it does look like the streak will end at what, 8 weeks in a row?
I think
7?
It was 8 in a row. Yeah,
8?
I think it was 8 in a row. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it's been so awesome just getting to talk to these guys week after week after week. So I mean, as always, unless anything changes, because we do have invites out. So unless anything changes, we will be back to the news format. The news and current events and everything will be back to that this Friday, which of course is fine. We'll go back to the OG format. That's totally fine. But, if anything changes, obviously we'll keep you guys, posted on the social media and everything else. So.
That's good. All right. Well, thanks again to Ari there from Reality Machine. We appreciate you stopping with us and telling us all about what's going on and the happenings of the Reality Machine project. So we will keep everybody updated on that and anything else that we come across. So if you want to follow us on our socials to keep up with that, Chris gave you all those. So check us out over there. And of course, all of our playlists and everything, other old band interviews are all on Spotify. This one, of course, will be added to the mix at some point. I'm still like 2 behind right now. So I just edited Dana's the other day, so I got to get that one.
Yeah,
that one up there. So anyway, until next week. Hope you guys have a good week, and then keep those horns held high. Jump in that pit anytime you can.
Have a great week, you guys. Thank you very much. Hopefully, I'll be better next week.